Well, good evening. We are live. It is Friday night indeed, which means it's Friday Night Frenzy, which means that I am, 13 minutes past the pushed deadline to who had 8:43 as the start time on the bingo card. Who had that? What were the wagers? I'm very curious. Well, anyways, welcome everybody. It's Friday Night Frenzy, where we talk about some of the developments in the law throughout the week. I am Rob. I am the owner of Law and Lumber, and I am an attorney practicing domestic relations, litigation, and bankruptcy law in the great state of Virginia. During this stream, we go through different things that have happened in cases of public significance that happened throughout the entire week. So the stream always goes long. We have a lot of topics to cover, and we're going to have some fun with it. Now, I have routinely had guests on this stream, and these guests have a lot of opinions. And before I bring them on, I am going to note that, yes, I started a new job. A new job where I'm a partner at a law firm that's larger than the one that I was previously at, which means that there is a managing partner and other colleagues of mine who I believe recently discovered that I have a YouTube channel. So, colleagues, avert your eyes and silence your ears if you feel so inclined. Otherwise, we're going to get to the docket, because the docket's kind of interesting today. We've got a lot to cover. Got a whole lot to cover. Whole lot to cover. Without further ado, two of the colleagues that I am sure are going to sidetrack the living crap out of me. Side note. Oh my God, we are already in an ADHD side note, and we have just started the stream. To all of you who watched the stream last week, the comments that I got in response to that, the number of people who reminded me to eat something, because that stream went for 6 hours and 40 minutes. Thank you. That's one of the reasons why we were late today, was I was eating something. So anyways, hope you guys have a cocktail in hand. If you don't have a cocktail in hand, I hope you have tea, water, something of your choosing. And let's buckle in, because it's going to be a fun one. As we get going, let's bring on, and I wonder if there's a song that might be sung. A song as old as time. I don't know.
I got songs. I got songs. I got a song in my heart, baby.
I was watching you backstage, and you were going, I want to sing. Let me sing. So
I do have to ask for your bar card, because you said that you were a family law and bankruptcy lawyer in the state of Virginia.
The Commonwealth of Virginia. I apologize sincerely for that to all of my Virginia fellows.
You call yourselves a partner at a Virginia law firm, sir?
It's the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth. The Commonwealth. You know who knows a lot about Commonwealths? This guy. Ian, the Canadian.
So, Rob, if you're ever on time, somebody's going to call in a wellness check on you.
They might. They really might. Who has Rob held up? Like, why is he on time to this live stream right now? I'm very concerned. Oh, yeah. No, Kurt's walk-on music needs to be of his own singing. That's his walk-on music. But yeah. So
yeah, if you're
singing is fun, man. You have a song in your heart and you want to sing. It's a good thing, right?
It is. Yeah. You know, I have a friend who's a very talented singer. And
sing like no one's listening is my motto.
Well, unless I'm in a courtroom, in which case I sing never.
Sing like no one's listening, because they're all covering their ears.
Dude, could you imagine like singing your closing argument?
No, I cannot. Boss. No, I cannot. Nope.
And Rob, if you ever do that, I will pull the whatever recordings there are, and I will cover it in my channel, and it will not be complimentary.
Nope.
I love this idea.
This is a terrible idea. Terrible idea.
Lawsuit the musical. Yes.
You need to do it in front of Judge A.
No.
She can have a part. She doesn't have to be excluded. We'll give her some lines in the theatrical production.
Judge Girardi is like that's one of the judges I would fear the least doing that in front of. It's other judges on that bench that I would be like, no, never, ever.
See, they're just
think
not
you
having
would-
fun. That's the problem. They're just not having fun, but you can change it. Be the change you want to see in the world, Rob. Bring a
Oh,
more
she would laugh.
lighthearted, musical, vaudeville disposition to the entire
You know-
Virginia bar. I believe in you.
You know what would be great is on a Friday motions day when the courtroom is completely packed and the judge has a lot to go through, and the judge says, "Mr. Morton, I'll hear from you now," and I just start singing my argument for the motion.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
No,
I'm
You could get some
terrible idea.
counsel, some backup singers. Be great. Someone
All
just
of a
stands up
sudden-
from the gallery and starts doing like the bass line.
All of a sudden,
Yeah, you
they're
need to bring a
sliding- they're
team.
sliding over the microphone over. Oh no!
Yeah, you need to bring a
This
team.
is my nightmare. This is my nightmare. This is my nightmare. But before we get rolling, I do want to shout out to YouTube.
Why is Kurt Mueller made a notice of appearance in my case? Why has he filed this notion?
No. No, and then Kurt like slowly opens the door in the back and starts singing from behind. Nope. Nope. Flash mob in the gallery. Chat, you guys are killing me right now. Yes, everyone's going to flash mob in the no. I cannot tell you how fast I would be escorted to chambers. That would not be good. No.
and you would once again be like a the owner of a small Virginia law firm.
There's no rule that says a dog can't play basketball. Air bud this thing, baby. Air bud this thing.
Oh God, we're not even intro yet. So before we got to the intro, I did want to shout out two creators that I know have been putting in a lot of work on YouTube. One of whom is doing some amazing things and just finished something that I think is immensely cool. And I wasn't able to join him on any of his live streams while he was doing it. Tauren 3 on YouTube.
I was going
Let me
to say
pull up
this
my-
definitely is not me.
No, but let me actually want to add his link to the description of the video. Give me 1 second. But Tauren 3 on YouTube has a really cool shop, and his patience level is I don't understand how a human can be this patient like ever. So he does these. Wow, he did a marathon stream. That's a 5 hour and 44-minute stream. Holy smokes.
Amateur.
Well, you've been covering Paxton, so we're going to talk about that too. Let me just make sure I've got the link to his channel. I'll put it in the description because I'm terrible at that. You guys, if you're just coming in, please like and subscribe. I don't say that enough. I always forget to say that. Check out the channels I mentioned at the beginning of tonight's live stream. Here are the links. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I'm going to do something like in a timely fashion. It's amazing.
Liar.
It's
No, you're not.
amazing. Did both of you just call me liars at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Do you need an answer? I thought the answer was self-explanatory on that one.
Well, I mean, it's fair. But so Tauren does these really cool braids. His shop is set up awesome. And why are you letting me share? Monster. There we go.
We were having a great debate in the pre-stream. Rob, where do you stand on the great debate of waffle versus pancake versus French toast?
All of those answers are wrong.
Whoa, hang on. What? Why?
What are you
What?
saying
What?
what about?
Saying what about a lot of things? So
You don't like any of those things?
no, I love all
I
those
like
things.
all of those things. It's just that there is something superior to all of them.
I'm a consumer of French toast. I love French toast. So
Yeah.
Tauren does these braids, and this braid is the Rob Bot braid. And he wanted to finish, so he did a marathon stream to finish the braid yesterday. And it is so cool watching him. My brain cannot sort this level of material. Like that's a whole lot of strands to keep track of. So I did place his link in the description. Please take a look. Let me see.
Yeah, if I tried
Kurt's
to make
audio.
something like that, I'd get distracted and make a bird's nest. And
yeah, it's, oh my God, look at that. Let's watch him finish. Let me see. I'll mute you, buddy, so that I don't catch anything because I haven't listened. And finishing the braid. There we go. That's so cool. I love highlighting people that just make stuff that's so neat.
That's got to be super satisfying when you
finish
that on it. Yeah. After hojillions of hours.
Well, hojillion, I didn't know it was a number, but apparently now it is.
Speaking of hojillion,
what's a hojillion?
Oh,
no.
Dude.
So there's the finished product.
See, Rob got there eventually. It took him a second.
I know it took me a second.
That's right.
There's the finished product. That's pretty cool. That's really, really, really cool. I love seeing that stuff. And then another friend of mine created a YouTube channel where he discusses one of my favorite things in the world. Ian, you'll appreciate this: random facts, random ass facts.
They're not usually randomly selected.
No, and one of my favorites is one of the first ones he does is about space.
Space is big.
Random, fun, interesting random facts with Neil, channel that explores the world of random, fun, interesting, worthless facts. Yes. Someone that loves to learn new stuff. I found I never made time to do it. So I made this channel to challenge myself to learn new stuff every week, then come here and embarrass myself on the internet. So I'm hoping you will join me on my quest for knowledge by hitting the like and subscribe button below.
This man has been on YouTube for like a month, and he is already better at editing videos than I could ever be. So Neil, but he's also an entertainer. So he plays a dueling piano bar in the DC area. He's been a great friend for several years. So to the extent that YouTube wants to try and say that any of that audio is copywritten, he played it, and I have permission to play it. So, well, not played it, he made it. That's all him playing in the background. But if you guys want, this one was the random facts about space that was really cool. One of my favorites. Did you know that the astronauts, when they came back from the moon, the first thing they had to do was clear customs?
I was aware of that, yes.
That is so cool.
Now, what are the duties coming back from the moon? Like, do we have a trade embargo against the moon?
I don't know. I don't think so. I guess we'll find out. But that was kind of the warm-up. How about this? Let's roll the intro, and then Kurt, I want to hear what you've been covering because I want to hear the Ken Paxton stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That? All right. Intro, and then give it to me.
All right. Ken Paxton trial in Texas. Ken Paxton is the elected Attorney General of Texas. Very popular with a lot of people, especially people that don't like Democrats or Biden. He's person has certainly brought a lot of lawsuits against the federal government and done a lot of arguably good things for Texas, and is been impeached and has been on trial, and the Senate of Texas is deliberating as we speak. Although I think they're about to break for the day because they said that they break around 8 p.m. So we'll see. Basically, the long story short is that he helped this guy, Nate Paul. Nate Paul is a real estate developer in Austin, had a lot of deals. He's a campaign donor and basically turned over his offices to help Nate Paul as basically his personal attorney rather than trying to help Texas. So he forgot who the client was, in other words.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then the most powerful charge against Paxton is the retaliation against his employees for being whistleblowers. So they all went to the FBI.
I know nothing about this case. So Ken
I
Paxton
can go into extreme detail depending on where you want to go to.
So he was engaged in what they're alleging is self-dealing, right?
Yeah.
Disregard for his oath of office.
Yeah.
And how long did the prosecution take to put on their case?
They each had 24 hours to present their case. The prosecution used all but about 2 hours, so 22 hours to put on their case. Defense rested with quite a bit of time left, about 5 hours left, so 19 hours. But that includes cross-examination time. So,
and I was going to say the 24 hours that was spread across multiple days because like 24 hours real time, right?
Yeah, 24 hours real time, including cross. So there was this very real possibility that they're going to get to the end and the prosecution was going to run out of time because it looked like they were running that way. And maybe they'll bring Ken Paxton to testify and there'd be no opportunity for cross, which would be hilarious. But that didn't happen. Ken Paxton didn't testify. So, yeah.
Can you compel someone when they're being impeached to testify?
No, the end conclusion was no, because the proof that Texas has adopted for itself is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So they've determined it's quasi-criminal, and therefore he has a Fifth Amendment interest to not be forced to testify.
Interesting. Okay. So they presented their case. The case is largely based on the self-dealing.
Yeah.
And
so there's a couple things that that Ken Paxton is accused of doing. So, for example, there's this charitable foundation called the Mitty Foundation. The Mitty Foundation was founded by the actor who played Walt Jr. in Breaking Bad, the guy with cerebral palsy. That's Mitty. So he has he has a charitable foundation.
Good for him.
And we've lost Rob completely, but I'll continue to explain it while Rob comes back. Anyways, the charitable foundation invested in real estate dealings with Nate Paul for the purpose of trying to get money. Right? We're going to invest in real estate. The real estate will be profitable. It'll bring us more money for the charity. Everything is great. The deal went south, and the allegation is that Ken Paxton, through the Attorney General's office, put pressure on the Mitty Foundation to settle at what would have been many, many millions of dollars worth of loss in order to benefit Nate Paul, because he was the other person in this transaction. There was another allegation where Nate Paul wanted to get information relating to a federal warrant or federal search that had been conducted against him, and that the Attorney General used open records, used the access to the file, because he would have access to the file as the Attorney General, to get information that shouldn't be open, and gave that information to Nate Paul. There was another allegation that Nate Paul's business dealings were going to go into bankruptcy. That Nate Paul was going to go into foreclosure, that the Attorney General forced his staff to generate a letter that would basically prevent the foreclosures from happening, and that was done for the benefit of Nate Paul. There was an allegation that he hired this guy, Brian Kamek, as an outside attorney, that Brian Kamek was directed to talk to Nate Paul's lawyer, that Nate Paul's lawyer gave Brian Kamek, who was working for the AG's office at the time, the people to talk to in order to get grand jury subpoenas, and also gave him the list of names of people to be subpoenaed by the grand jury, all of which were people that were investigating Nate Paul. So basically using the power of the Attorney General and the grand jury process to get subpoenas against federal officials, federal agents, and other people as basically a retaliatory move in order to benefit Nate Paul personally.
Wow, that sounds like yeet into the sun allegations if made out.
How'd the prosecution do?
The most developed charge, in my humble opinion, was for the whistleblower retaliation. So these eight officials who worked for the Attorney General's office, all of whom are very high level, right? This is like the second in command, the third in command, right? These are all like upper level people at the Attorney General's office. Like, these 8 people go to the FBI. They tell him, we went to the FBI. The very next day, the Attorney General suspends them and does an investigation, starts doing an investigation on them, and within 45 days has fired all of them.
Oh,
And there's
wow.
also a presumption, and there's a presumption under Texas law that if you fire them within 60 days, that it's presumptively due to retaliation. And
Whoa.
basically, there's really no evidence that they did it for any reason other than retaliation. Because the reason that they said that they fired them was because, well, because the guy who was the first AG, the immediate deputy, had been reassigned, and the new guy who had the new first AG, they were just insubordinate with him and used insubordinate tone. But there was no evidence presented because the first AG didn't testify. So
Wow. Okay.
So the reason they said was, well, he was insubordinate with them, but there's no evidence they were insubordinate with it. Because the first AG didn't testify, and the internal report that they generated, of course, is all hearsay. So we never heard from the guy who would be able to testify these things happened. So the whistleblower retaliation is by far and away the best claim against Paxton.
Wow. What's your gut telling you?
Well, if we were in a court of law, I've assessed that I think he's guilty of the interference with the Mitty Foundation. I think he's guilty with respect to the hiring of Kamek and the misuse of that position for the investigation. I think he's guilty with respect to the whistleblower. There are some other charges in there that I didn't think were sufficiently proven. But I'd vote to convict on at least some of it, which would be enough. But of course,
now you
it's
said
political.
You said court of law. This is now political, but this is now in front of the Senate.
Yeah, I said if it were a court of law, I'd vote to convict. But this is the state Senate, so it's political, quasi-criminal. So the rules are made up and the points don't matter. So I don't know.
Are they doing this in the Senate chambers? They have to.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So the defense is rested. The
The
right?
case
So
is
now
over.
with
It's submitted to the
Senate.
jury, which is the senators.
So we might get something back tonight.
It's possible, although I think they're about to recess for the day. But yeah, it's possible. They've been in deliberations for about 7 hours or something.
Wow, that's longer than you might expect.
Well,
yeah,
usually,
well, it's
trial.
it's obviously complicated because there's the question of do you think he deserves to be removed from office for it, which is also, political in its nature. So there's what should be the repercussions for this. But yeah, and there were other allegations that were completely unproven. For example, that Nate Paul hired Paxton's mistress as part of a bribery. I'll hire a person in order to convince you to do things for me. But it was unproven. There was really no evidence that relating to that. So the mistress was called to testify. She was deemed. They were very careful in their wording. The judge made a note in open court that the witness, the mistress, was present but was unavailable. What does that tell you as a lawyer?
That they're declining to testify. They're exercising a right to preclude their testimony.
Fifth Amendment, you got it. Bingo. She invoked her right to remain silent. So yeah. It's I only means one thing.
Wow. Okay. Well, and then in other news, interestingly enough, you guys both covered this go ahead, Ian.
I find the way the U.S. does the Fifth Amendment to be really interesting because we don't do it that way here. Here in Canada, you don't have a right to not testify except if it's your trial. The right you have instead is that any evidence that you give at somebody else's trial can't be used against you in your trial.
Yeah, so that's basically use and derivative use immunity, right? That's basically effectively what that is. So it's just automatic in Canada, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, and the second thing you guys covered that I talked about with Ian on Monday, but there was a response, and apparently both of you guys covered it while I was doing work stuff. But there was an executive order in New Mexico that Ian and I both had some pretty strong opinions about.
I also have strong opinions about it.
I think everybody had strong opinions about this one.
And even
my opinions are reflected by the motto of Virginia as reflected on its flag.
Sic Semper Tyrannis.
That would be the one.
And you called me not a Virginian. But the thing is, the gun issue is always going to be an issue that people are going to be very conflicted about. And I get that part. But you can't.
I've been trying to, like, the thing I keep saying is that I think that this is more than a gun issue, which is why
it's significant. This is emergency overreach.
And when you see the people who have been lining up to oppose this one, you will see that it's not just pro-gun people.
It's a lot of people.
David Hogg, who has made a career of being like I am the face of the anti-gun movement, and also I will shill pillows if I think that's going to make a buck, but that's a side thing. But he even came out and said, this is too far. Like, this is crazy.
Didn't like every town for gun safety or like one of the major gun groups also come out and say this was some bullshit?
Yeah, it's like everybody has said this is nuts, because they end up realizing that if this can be used for them, it can be used against them too. Because there's a public safety
protected rights.
It's the magic emergency button. If you push the magic emergency button, you can do anything. But it's for emergencies only. Surely you'd never press the magic emergency button for anything but the best of reasons. Holy shit.
One of the best hypotheticals that I saw was that under the theory that the New Mexico governor was advancing, right? There's an emergency, there's an epidemic, there's something going on that we need to address. Under the theory that they were advancing, the state of Texas or Arizona could, by executive order, say, we are temporarily suspending the Third Amendment, and we are going to quarter Customs and Border Patrol agents to try and stop the flow. And when someone said that, the comments behind that were wild. People were like, they're completely different. I was like, they're really not. When you look at it on a fundamental principle level, it's really not. Like, this is very similar in how they're trying to enact this. And the governor comes out and says, when she brings out this executive order, they said the legislature's not doing anything. And I said, well, that's a big problem, because you don't have legislative authority. The legislature's
not doing anything because they don't want to. Like,
they're deadlocked. They can't. Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, is you don't just get to say, oh, well, government's not doing anything, like the elected officials, because the elected officials may not want to. Like, that's kind of the thing, is they have the power to go, nah, bro, right? And that might actually be what they're elected for.
Or you have an equally divided populace on an issue that isn't yet being resolved in the legislature, because both sides are saying, one side saying one thing, the other side saying the other, and you have an equally divided populace. The legislative branch is the body of the people that's supposed to enact laws that are directed by the people that they represent. It's a representative democracy. And when they can't come together and enact a law, the governor doesn't get to say there and say, oh, you people just can't agree. I'm going to say it for you.
Yeah, that's definitely not a thing. Yeah. Why do we need that pesky legislature or anything? Why can't one person just magically declare what the law should be? Oh, wait a second. We had that before.
Maybe they should have a special hat that they could wear, some sort of like pointy hat, maybe in gold. You know, if you're going to have the ability to just decide what the law is.
No. So, Ian, I just need a sec. Can Ian or Kurt, whichever one of you wants to do it, can you summarize what the executive order was and how we got to the executive order being enacted?
So what is the executive order? It includes a whole bunch of things. The main one that's getting all the airplay is that it bans the concealed or open carrying of firearms, except on your own property, at gun ranges, at private property where it's allowed, and to and from those locations, if you have it in a gun case. It, of course, exempts police officers because as much as they've said it's impossible to tell who the good gun owners are, they figure that they've identified who the good gun owners are, and they figure that's the police. So, they're saying it's impossible, but yeah.
The good gun owners are the ones that would even contemplate obeying the order.
Yeah, that's the thing is
because
that
they're law-abiding.
But it also includes a bunch of other weird stuff, like they want to test kids' pee.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
Yeah, they want to do wastewater testing at schools to see if there's.
Oh, I didn't see that part. Yes, the wastewater testing. Yes, to see if there were drugs in the wastewater. That's kind of something.
Different.
Yeah, but the other thing was the way she tried to defend it, and this was part of it where I thought it was kind of clever-ish. Like it was. Let me put it this way: it was an attempt at clever. It was an attempt at clever because she tried to define the scope of it by limiting it to the number of incidents that were reported in the past year of gun violence in the jurisdiction that was being enforced. So it was basically saying if you are a county with this many reported incidents, that your county is now under this executive order. Now there are when I say it was an attempt at clever, there are any number of remarkable failings here.
Well, let's talk about one of the really fun ones. So they say that you have to violate this order willfully in order to get sanctioned.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a willful violation if you just don't know the stats of your local?
That was
your local crime stats.
Yeah, like so the onus is now on the citizen to know the stats for the county where they are, and it's on the sheriff to basically publish that we are going to enforce this in this jurisdiction because our stats are here. So it's a moving scale.
But what if you're just like, I don't listen to the radio, I don't watch any TV, the only thing I like doing is concealed and open carrying my firearms. Those are my only hobbies. And so
the hobbies.
It's like, I don't pay any attention to that.
Yep. So, well, this executive order came out and immediately faced a ton of backlash. And the governor, rather than saying we should reassess, the governor went and doubled down and argued to everybody. The
General tells them they're wrong. David Hogue tells her she's wrong. The sheriffs say you're wrong. Is there anyone saying that she's right? By the way,
did you read the letter from the Attorney General?
Yeah, it was great.
No.
Oh, he wrote in to say, I will not, I understand I have an obligation under the law to defend your bullshit. I will not defend it because I consider it to be unconstitutional, and that my higher obligation is to the Constitution.
Well, that's what the AG is there for. I mean, that's what they are. They can decide not to defend something.
It's just
who's also a Democrat, by the way.
This was something that was so egregious. It crossed over all political lines. Like she was getting hard questions from I think even the most left of anybody was asking her hard questions, and she just kept saying, it's an epidemic. I have to do something. No, you don't.
Why can't you just magically repeal the First Amendment?
Oh, she threatened to do
that. She did say that she could do that. I know. I saw her interview.
People are trying to undermine the executive order by saying, it's illegal. So that speech is dangerous. So we should make the First Amendment illegal.
Can we get off the free slope that we just got thrown on? Like it's not even close. This isn't even close.
Next thing she's going to want to start quartering soldiers.
That's what I just said. Like it's not even close. You're taking a fundamental right. Like, and the thing is, you had Bruin, and whether you disagree with Bruin or not, Bruin's the law at this point. How did she find anyone to sign off on this?
She's the governor. She just signed herself. Yeah, she didn't. Yeah, she just said, "I'm magic."
So the Court of Appeals.
My particular favorite post is where she said, her oath of office wasn't absolute.
Oh yeah,
That was my particular favorite. I'm like, I'm not even sure in
Yeah.
principle what that means.
Yeah.
Well, what it means is
yeah.
that people should tell her that, in fact, her oath of office is rescinded, and that she can.
Yeah, if you don't like your oath of office, there is a very simple solution to that problem.
Yeah. You know who doesn't have an oath of office that you need to worry about? Burger King. You could work at Burger King and you won't have to worry about that pesky oath of office.
Ian, you can't because Burger King has been closing stores. Did you not see that news?
She could work at, I guess, McDonald's. Is McDonald's closing stores?
I guess McDonald's is still open. Yeah, she could do that. But this immediately gets brought before the district court because they're saying violation of federal law. Like you can't do this.
There's a number of more noble professions than politics. She could sell crack.
Wow. It is 35 minutes in, and we are at the selling crack phase of Ian's hypotheticals. However, being more noble than being a politician, I don't know that I disagree. Either way, so case gets brought in district court. Well, several cases. I think this was probably the fastest.
Oh yeah, no, it was as Ian pointed out, it was literally everybody.
It was everyone.
All the people sued. Everyone sued.
Everyone sued. Everyone was like
a
no.
Parade in that courtroom.
It was wild, and the district court was going, so no, and the district court turned around with an opinion that was faster than like a TRO, temporary restraining order, that was faster than I would have imagined.
I was impressed how fast they were able to turn out something of such good quality. I mean, someone was typing pretty damn fast.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that the judge started writing that before they walked in the courtroom.
Yeah, so here's the temporary restraining order. Plaintiffs, individuals, firearm owners, or Second Amendment advocacy organizations have moved for a temporary restraining order pursuant to Rule 65B1 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. They seek to enjoin enforcement of the New Mexico Department of Health's public health emergency order, yada, yada. We heard oral argument on this on September 13th. So they just heard oral argument on this 2 days ago. What's the date of this ruling?
The 13th, the same day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's enjoy, or you should check the time that he puts as of the injunction, because it's real specific.
Wow. So September 13th was when they heard argument. I imagine probably at 10 a.m. docket they heard argument.
Yeah.
So
and
the background of the executive order. Then it goes through the prohibitions. Now the focus was this one: within cities or counties averaging 1,000 or more violent crimes per 100,000 residents per year. So again, placing the onus on the citizen to know whether or not they should or should not comply with this rule. That's a big problem when you talk about like fundamental rights. And more than 90 firearm related emergency department visits per 100,000 residents from June to June 2023. So you guys do the math. I'm not going to, and we know how good I am at math.
But it was written to only encompass Albuquerque. So it was deliberately written with the outcome in mind.
It was, but it also didn't even say Albuquerque. I think she would have been better off if she had said Albuquerque inside of the stats.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that would make it a lot clearer.
That's for damn sure. That's what I mean. It fails for vagueness. Like immediately fails for vagueness.
Well, they did specify a specific time period, which is also interesting.
Yeah. So, like, are we floating in and out of compliance depending on?
No, they did say
being reported late. Like,
no, they did specify a specific time window. So if a bunch
it occurred
of people
within this period,
if a bunch of extra people die, then it's not going to affect things at all.
So June 2022 to June 2023. So district court dispatches this rather quickly. Within days, they move for temporary restraining order.
And this had to have been pre-written. There's just no other.
They saw the executive order. They knew it was coming.
Yeah, the judge had to have started writing. And I wasn't able to watch the hearing itself or to listen to it. but I did look at the live tweets from the Firearm Policy Coalition. I'm pretty sure that the way it went was basically the judge had already written it and then gave them the opportunity to change his mind and was super unimpressed with their efforts to do so. Like, hey,
or just basically acknowledged that there was nothing they could say that was going to change his mind or her mind.
Well, he started out basically saying, you've got an uphill battle on this one. It's going to be a tough argument for you guys. They started making an argument about, numbers and whatever else. And he's like, are you not just making exactly the same argument that was overturned or that was not followed in Bruin?
Yeah.
And they didn't have an answer for that because they were.
And they did it by even Bruin was a statute. Bruin had additional protection because it was a statute, not an executive order.
Here's the additional fun. They say that they weren't trying to reduce the number of guns, which the judge was like, yeah, you are. And so the additional fun part of that is that pretty much immediately after, in her press conference, she's saying, like, I am trying to reduce the number of guns on the street.
Yeah.
Like, she just contradicts the arguments that they're making. So
of course,
yeah.
Of course.
And you know what's interesting is that with this issue, and I've had this conversation repeatedly, there's a mechanism for rectifying an amendment that we believe is construed inconsistently with our values, and that's either by amending it or
you could repeal it.
Yep.
Repealing it.
It's there as an option.
It's there, but there's a divided population on the issue.
I think you're going to have a tough time getting that one through. Yeah,
just a bit.
The Second Amendment is hereby repealed. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Tough
Just
sell.
a bit. 2:55 p.m. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you have a sense that was left like untyped and it was just like, what time is it now? 2:55 done.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
what was even stupider is it doesn't even meet rational basis review.
No.
Because she said, she even said, the people who are breaking laws are not going to obey the order. The only people that would obey this order are the law abiding, which means it's irrational because the measure has no rational relationship towards the end of reducing gun violence because the law abiding weren't the ones creating the gun violence in the first place. So it's actually worse. It doesn't make even rational basis review. That's how stupid it is. You have to try pretty hard to fail rational basis review, and they managed to do it.
And to get a TRO entered against it. Like, temporary restraining orders are extreme. Courts acknowledge that. They don't grant them unless there's a substantial likelihood on the merits.
Yeah.
And this was probably one of the fastest granted TROs I've seen. And I cannot see this being overturned.
No.
So
it's like I don't even need the Second Amendment. I can just go with due process and be like, this fails bare minimum. It's arbitrary and capricious. It fails bare minimum substantive due process. I don't even need the Second Amendment. That's how dumb it is.
Karina, hi, Rob, Runkle, Uncivil. Happy Friday night. Happy Friday night to you, Karina. Andrew Isaac. I think Pajik or Pajik. After living in the state for 30 years, I'm just glad that the rest of the U.S. remembers that New Mexico is indeed part of the U.S. It is. It is.
They always like to. They say New Mexico, USA right on the license plates, because people forget. There used to be a great column like our Forgotten State or something like that, where they published, articles about people trying to get things done as New Mexico and be like, you're not part of the United States.
New Mexico for a remarkable artist community in Santa Fe, and then also Hatch Chili's, Hatch, New Mexico.
And Breaking Bad.
I never watched it, and people are going to be mad about that, but I never did.
I am mad about that. You need to watch it right now. End stream, go watch.
No end stream.
I did not enjoy season 1, but the rest of it was very good, so I recommend it.
I think you gotta watch. You gotta watch season 1 just to get the rest, like just to know what's going on.
Shovelhound saying,
is there anyone else with me in chat that season 1 of Breaking Bad was actually not good? As it's just me.
It's just you.
We have not reached topic number 1 yet. Shovelhound, we singing, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere online tonight, but you're here with us on FNF. Are you ready for a cross-examination? I didn't sing it, but I think we can hear it. It's going to be interesting. We're going to have fun. Anna, thank you. We have an epidemic of hate speech. Therefore, we shall suspend the First Amendment. Yeah, no, thank you. That's part of the problem.
We have an epidemic of I can't make that joke.
We have an epidemic.
I'm going to get too much trouble for that joke.
Well, I made the comment. You remember monkeypox? That big, like fear for like all of like 8 minutes. People were freaked out about that. Well, they were saying, "Oh, it's more common in the gay community." Do you not think that there's politicians who wouldn't have said, "Oh, monkeypox is an emergency. We need to suspend everything and go after that"? Like, absolutely, they could have done that.
Ian, there were challenges against restrictions on that because of that reason. They did. Yep. They tried. Nicole has ADHD. My 7-year-old psychiatric ADHD autism service dog in training passed her public access test today. Congrats to the pupper. That's amazing. Nice. Casey McCloy, thank you. Thank goodness Kurt's here. There's been so much stupid to unpack. Also, season 1 of Breaking Bad was bad. There you go. There's somebody. Andy, the game makers in chat. Andy, I have you to thank/hate for the first topic on our list. Thank you for that. You're not a Virginia Rob because Virginia's for lovers. I love you, Andy.
Andy, when are we doing a play test? I've got my board game prototype. I got to get some play testing in. We're gonna have to
not read the super chat before you read them. Yeah. Canonical Heat, thank you very much. Mash that like and subscribe and remind Torin to eat. Torin, eat. And thank you guys for reminding me as well. Please hit the like button if you have not yet done so. There are 2,400 of you here watching tonight. Please hit like the stream. It does drive people to the show. So let's do this. Let's go to the first topic. I'm now concerned. So Andy, the game maker, is responsible for my first view of this particular story.
Do we have an address for sending the letter bombs?
No, but I do have a scented candle I can send back to him in some fashion or other. But I got to swoop. Swooping in 3, 2.
Screw up the timing. I'm sorry.
We can do it again. New swoop. Caught at the last second. Perfect. So let's see. What we have for our first story of the evening was a Virginia House candidate.
Yes. A woman dedicated to constituent service and a hands-on approach.
Oh my God, Kurt, you are uncontrollable. Oh, there we go. It's good. All right. So Washington Post ran an article on Monday of this week, September 11th. Virginia Democratic House candidate performs sex online with husband for tips. Susanna Gibson is running in a competitive district with control of the House at stake.
Chat, these are financial tips like money. She's not asking for like advice.
No.
She's just asking for the tip.
Oh. That was really good. That was Kurt. That was a good one. That was good. Kurt, you win that one. Okay. So a Democrat running for a crucial seat in Virginia's House of Delegates performed sex acts with her husband for a live online audience and encouraged viewers to pay them with, quote, tips for specific requests, according to online videos viewed by the Washington Post. I'm sorry, Washington Post writers, for viewing those.
I'm guessing that these weren't things like do a barrel roll.
No. Susanna Gibson, nurse practitioner and a mother of 2 young children running in a highly competitive suburban Richmond district, streamed sex acts on a website called Chatterbait, a platform that says it takes its name from the, oh my God, I am not going to read what it takes its name from. You can read it on the screen and you can probably guess. Chatterbait videos are streamed live on that site and are often archived on other publicly available sites. More than this part is relevant for our discussion in a minute. They are often archived on other publicly available sites. Publicly available sites. More than a dozen videos of the couple captured from the Chatterbait stream were archived on one of those sites.
But which site? There are so many. Which one? So I can make sure not to go there.
In September of 2022, after she entered the race. The most recent of these two were videos that were archived on September 30th. It's unclear when the live stream occurred. While still listed on Record-Bait, those videos were no longer available for viewing as of Saturday after a Republican operative. I always hate when they say operative. Operative. I'm an operative of the deep state. Blah, blah, blah. You guys, I'm not pulling politics in this, Democrat, Republican. I don't give a crap one way or the other. It's some of the responses that I've seen to this.
But
and it's some
operative
of the
makes you sound like it's like Mission Impossible that you're rappelling in a black turtleneck or something.
You think that someone online didn't see her freaking picture? Some person probably saw her picture in one of her posters and was like, why does that face look familiar? It's not an operative.
I have some thoughts on this one, but I'll wait until you're ready for the thoughts.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay. And then
I see thoughts.
What? In his brain?
The thing is every political campaign is funded by some form of prostitution. This is just the only one where it's just her husband getting screwed instead of the constituents.
Oh,
because
Ian.
usually they're bending over for some sort of public interest group. So I actually consider this to be one of the most noble funding campaigns that we've ever seen in the history of politics.
I also don't disagree. I don't know why I don't disagree.
I will lift a glass to her.
The logic is somehow there. It's if you're gonna fund your campaign with something, rather than special interests, I don't know what to say. I really don't.
Yep.
But when you're doing that, and you have your website up, that's your apps.
I wonder as a want-to-be representative for Virginia, if she has any opinions on Virginia's recently passed age verification law. Does she think that's a good law or a bad law? Just out of raw curiosity.
Oh my God. And that's the thing. You could ask that in a debate and not even, this is.
I mean, it is a law that Virginia recently passed. Maybe she wants to repeal it.
She might.
Mom,
nurse practitioner,
she would have a unique perspective.
She's a public health expert. She might have a perspective on it as a public health expert. Northam endorsed her. Oh no. Oh. And again, like the family, and
normally, you're just going to some sort of rub and chicken dinner, and all you get is a bad meal, man. I mean, you get personal interaction from the delegate. I mean, damn.
Oh, that's even worse. But
it's great.
The thing about this that just
Susan's
it's just priorities thing. I guess what she was doing is a small business. It's a small business, I guess.
I can use her website to find.
You know what? Her husband would probably not appreciate you calling this a small business.
Probably not. Probably not. Going on. So, but the videos remain live for another non-password protective site, which the Post viewed.
You know what? Somebody expensed that porn site.
It's research. It's business research. It's business purpose.
Yep. Somebody expensed that porn site, and good for them.
And
I should also go check out the website for my channel. That means it's a business expense for me too.
Oh God. So the post confirmed that they're still there. Gibson, 40, can be seen in the video soliciting tips for performing specific acts in apparent violation of Chatterbait's terms and conditions, would say requesting or wow. So I didn't.
She should go OnlyFans, man. It's a much better
Apparently,
platform.
you're not allowed to demand or like from.
Right.
Okay, that's fair. We don't want.
There's
want,
reasons for that. It gets
yes, the
real
website,
abusive.
I can see that the website is not going to condone just you pay this and you get this act. That I can see that. Very logical. Very, very logical. In at least 2 videos, she tells the viewers she's raising money for a good cause. My God, Washington Post, you did not hold back. Holy crap. And this is the Washington Post. Wow. In multiple videos, Gibson interrupts the sex acts, to type into a bedside computer, speaking directly into the screen. She urges viewers to provide tips, which are paid through tokens purchased through the site. In at least 2 videos.
Speaking of which, if you'd like to send a super chat to Rob, just a friendly reminder, he does appreciate your support.
Rob, what special services will you provide for super chats today?
Well, and here's the problem. This no. And what I'm getting at here isn't this particular conduct, because this is political. I don't give a crap about this. What I care about is what her reaction was when this was disclosed. And here it is. In a written statement, Gibson called the exposure of the videos an illegal invasion of my privacy designed to humiliate me and my family.
It's not an invasion of your privacy when you put it up online. Like if somebody sneaks into your, if somebody sneaks in a ninja outfit into your bedroom with a camcorder and films you having sex with your husband and then sneaks out and puts that online, that's an invasion of your privacy, and you can argue the legality there.
Or if your camera or your computer is hacked or something like that, they get into like your iCloud or that.
Yeah.
But
it's
she
not
also
when,
says
when you specifically upload it to the internet for any rando.
That part. It's that part. It won't intimidate me. It won't silence me. Well, duh, you did it. Of course it's not going to intimidate you. You did it knowing you were doing it, and then you ran for office. So
my political opponents and the Republican allies have proven they're willing to commit a sex crime. To attack me.
That part. This part. This is the part that I read in this article that pissed me off. It was this part. Because there have been various laws passed in multiple jurisdictions on the topic of revenge. We'll call it corn. Because, you know what? YouTube.
I know what I'd be doing if I were her political opponent right now. I'd be trying to specifically bait her into using my name in referring to that. And then I'd be filing a defamation suit because now she's alleging that you have committed a criminal act, which is defamatory.
And do you realize then, she didn't say anything about who specifically did it?
That's why you have to bait her into it in a debate.
It is.
You're not in a debate. You'll need a different context. Debates.
Oh yeah.
Debates
are privileged as well. Okay.
It's not exactly privileged, but the courts are going to go out of their way to not do it.
Yeah, they're not going to.
The thing is just so long as you can get past the motion to dismiss and into discovery, that's where the magic is.
You get the tapes.
You could get all the recordings. You could get all the finances. You could get everything, and it's like, all right, let's make noise on this one. You're saying it was a crime. Let's talk about where you uploaded it. Let's talk about how you marketed it. Let's talk about all of this. It's game on now. Don't play stupid games if you don't want to ride. If you don't want to ride that to the end. Because
Kurt, I'm going to let you read the comment by her attorney, because this was an attorney that said this.
Daniel Watkins, a lawyer for Gibson, said disseminating the videos constitutes a violation of the state's revenge corn law, which makes it a class 1 misdemeanor to maliciously distribute nude or sexual images of another person with intent to coerce, harass, or intimidate.
I'm pretty sure that would, even if it is that broad, violate the First Amendment when you start talking about like actually newsworthy things, like a politician was doing this sort of thing. Because I mean, even if you don't have an issue with this, and I'm not saying anybody should have an issue with it, I'm just saying, like, regardless, people, like, the electorate can decide whether they want to vote for you based on good reasons or bad reasons. And, you know, they can say, listen, I don't like the shape of your nose. I'm not going to vote for you. All of these things about a politician are inherently newsworthy, you know, so yeah.
And also, it's specifically with intent to coerce, harass, or intimidate. So
Yeah,
you can also parse it on a legal level. It's like, it's not, I'm not trying to coerce you, harass, or intimidate you. It's just like, you're running for public office, ma'am.
Well,
this is things you're doing in your very public forward-looking way.
Who's disseminating it? Because that's the, well, that we'll get to that in a second. When a lot of stuff started getting hacked and leaked, and now I run into this a lot in my practice. I'm a divorce lawyer, guys. I run into a ton of spouses, ex-spouses, ex-boyfriends doing all kinds of really crappy stuff with images that were exchanged in private. Really crappy stuff. It happens.
Oh, it happens all the time. Yeah.
All the time. And then my client comes to me remarkably upset because all of a sudden something's on the internet. And the truth of the matter is that once something's on the internet, it's on the internet. Like, there's no removing it from every point or every part of the internet. I'm on the internet. No matter how much I wish to remove myself from the internet, I'm on the internet.
Chat, we need to clarify this.
My face is on the internet. My face is on the internet.
Also your
Caveat.
feet. Also your feet.
Ian, you son of a... It's an hour in. My face is on the internet.
Those aren't the photos you shared with me, Rob. If you'd like copies of the photo Rob shared with me, please contact Uncivil.
Oh no! To any of my colleagues who might be watching this, please stop watching. It is not. It is my face.
Remember, he's a partner in a law firm now, so hey.
But this happens a lot, and once it's on the internet, it's on the internet. There's no unringing that bell. And a lot of clients,
there have been a couple of times I've seen it be successful, but you have to catch it like instantly.
Instant. And that's the problem, because clients will come to me and they will say that this ex-spouse, this ex-significant other, they released or they sent a picture of me. And I said, well, good, I can punish them. I can seek punishment against them for doing that. I'm like, but can't you get it removed? And there's a really sad truth in that. No, I can't. So when we've talked about laws in the past, and one of the frustrations I have with the legislature is the legislature tends to be very overreactive, and they write laws because they think something's really bad and they want to encompass all of the bad. And they say, we're going to get all the bad. But when they do that, they make the laws impermissibly vague, and they make them in a way that almost makes them unenforceable, like this particular law in this particular instance. So Watkins says we're working closely with state and federal law enforcement. They're going to get nowhere. They're going to get literally nowhere, because the internet is public. Once it is public, there is no way of tracing who is disseminating it further, how it's being disseminated. It's just everywhere.
Yeah.
It's the internet.
Well, why are you so ashamed? This is information that you were more than willing to share with literally any random stranger, because my very vague understanding of how that website works is it essentially is random pairing. You just hit a button and it just pairs you with someone randomly. So you're willing to share this with literally any random stranger who came by.
And who's paying pursuant to the terms of service.
Would you like me to buy you an account and gift it to you?
No, I don't. I have no interest in that.
You don't want that for Christmas?
Oh God, no, Ian. For Christmas, I want a new power tool. That's about it.
You're gonna need some specificity.
Nope. Woodworking power tool.
Because Again.
Nope. Like actual in my workshop power tool that can cut or like no, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop on I'm gonna stop. I'm digging. I'm gonna put the shovel down. The shovel is being placed down. So in this thing, the couple had more than 5,700 followers there.
It's a lot.
In this case, Gibson originally live streamed these acts on a site that was not password protected.
So available to any rando who just happens to come across it.
And then the attorney tries to save face by saying that she wasn't aware that the posting would go to other sites.
I mean, that's fine, but it still went up online, and at that point you had to...
You lose a certain amount of control of that.
It's like if I go and decide to, get busy in like Times Square at New Year's Eve, it's gonna end up on, on a web page somewhere. You just know that's gonna happen.
And let's talk about the law at issue, because the law at issue is one that it comes up a lot in domestic relations litigation, and it's one that the legislature needs to take a look at, because you got to fix this, man, because the courts are having a nightmare interpreting this, and it's not catching the people it's intended to catch. So here's how the law reads. Let me see if I can't zoom in on this a little bit. Zoomy, zoomy, zoom. Instead of zoom, zoom, zoom. All right. Any person who. And now here's your first caveat. This is the first problem the legislature has. With the intent to coerce, harass, or intimidate, maliciously disseminates. That's a lot of caveats that they intended. They intended the conduct, and they intended it for a purpose, to coerce, harass, or intimidate. So they did it with the intention that they were going to coerce the person into doing something, harass them, or intimidate them. And then it goes even further. It says they maliciously disseminated it, which means that they chose the people to whom they were disseminating it, or the manner to actually cause harm to this person, or sells any videographic or still image created by any means whatsoever. And now we're getting into the part where I think this statute is starting to face some problems. If they sell any image created by any means whatsoever, Kurt, you're the con law guy. You're the con law guy. Are you seeing any problems with like vague construction of this statute?
Yeah, a little bit.
That depicts another person who is totally nude or in a state of undress so as to expose the genitals, pubic area, buttocks, or female breast, where such person knows or has reason to know that he is not licensed or authorized to disseminate or sell such videographic or still image, is guilty of a class 1 misdemeanor. So you have knowledge. I know I'm not allowed to do it. I have the intent to coerce, harass, or intimidate. I do it for that purpose. And it's something that I have that depicts them in a nude state. And then it ups the scale if you start using different ISP providers, email, etc. And this is another part. Where was it? Another person. This is a new provision of the law that I think fails. I think this fails, period. Includes a person whose image was used in creating, adapting, or modifying a videographic or still image with the intent to depict them in an act. So this is in an effort to combat AI. Or people photoshopping. The deep fake argument.
Rampantly like a constitutional problem. Big
problems here. So the legislature saw a problem, and instead of trying to say, how can we carefully craft a rule or a law that says, no, we're going to protect these people, they said, we're going to throw a massive net in the water and see what it catches. So, yeah. But again, you go back to this with the intent to coerce, harass, or intimidate, and then the person has to maliciously disseminate it. And I think this part is what the lawyer is missing. It was a video or still image that was created by any means. That's what that lawyer is kind of focusing on. That somehow, because this was created and it was intended for a specific audience, that further dissemination beyond that intended audience is violative of the law. But the intended audience was the internet, and paying people on the internet.
Any person with an internet connection. And here's the other, like, just because you intended an audience doesn't mean that's where it stays when you are in politics.
And then you have to prove that it was maliciously disseminated. What if someone literally said, "Oh my God, is this our possible delegate?" and forwards the link, not the video, the link to someone else asking a question? Is that person now guilty of a class 1 misdemeanor because they saw a link? They're like, "Hey, this kind of looks like a person that we might know." How far do you extend criminal liability? So, asked why Gibson had a reasonable expectation of privacy, Watkins pointed
This
to
paragraph
2021.
is like, so, yeah.
Yeah, 2021 Court of Appeals ruling that found it was unlawful for a man to secretly record his girlfriend during a consensual encounter, even if he didn't show the video to others.
All right, that doesn't even begin to that doesn't even begin to speak to the issue on any level, and it offends me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So you cite a law that has nothing to do with this.
Why does Gibson have a reasonable expectation of privacy on this public website? Okay. So to answer that question, he cites a case that says it's unlawful for a man to secretly record his girlfriend during their consensual encounter. Okay, because the girlfriend had a reasonable expectation of privacy, because presumably this was being done privately. And so her expectation of privacy would be because it was being done privately. In like a bedroom, presumably.
Mm-hmm.
And so how does that have anything to do with your expectation of privacy on a public-facing, random pairing website?
It doesn't. It has
What
nothing
does
to do
it
with
have to do with the price of tea in China?
And also the website that tells you that it's archiving the material that you upload. Like the website tells you that these videos are saved for future people who pay that money to watch it.
Yeah.
So, and then
I mean, as long as we're citing random cases out here, just.
But this is one of the few instances where I'm going to compliment the Post, because the Post heard what that lawyer said and then did what Kurt just did and pulled the case and wrote in the very next paragraph, in that case, Ronnie Lee Johnson versus Commonwealth, the court found that consent to being seen is not the same as consent to being recorded.
But she did consent.
That's what I mean. Right. And there's a stark distinction between an image existing only in someone's memory and a permanent file that may be shared or reviewed indefinitely. Yes, but the distinction that Kurt was pointing out that makes this lawyer look like he's not really a very good lawyer was that
I'm sure
she was
fine.
making,
he's just reaching so
he is
hard.
reaching, but she was making a permanent file that could be
doing
shared.
A reach around, one might say.
Kurt,
it was a good joke. It was a good joke. It was a good joke.
It was, but
can't
still.
Stop, won't stop.
So me and my team, and this is the other thing that kind of shocks me. How I know politicians are not the brightest, they're not. How do you previously have an online presence where this is the material that you put out? And you decide, you know what's a good idea? I'm going to run for political office, where politics is blood sport.
I got no problem with that. Just own it. I'd vote for her.
If she's running away from it?
No, if she was leaning into it. Like
she's
if her response,
into it.
If her response was, Yeah, I made those videos. Like
I did it support.
if
I did
you don't
support my
like,
family, and that's the other
and
thing.
if you don't
I
like
did
it,
support my
don't
family.
watch it. Like,
And here's how you respond to it. I made those videos. I did it to support my family at a time where our economy was so driven down because of the policies of the opposing party. I had no alternative but to make these videos to support my family in any way I could, because the job that I had as a nurse practitioner who was undervalued and underpaid was not putting enough food on the table for my kids. So I did what I had to do to put food on the table for my kids, and shame on these media publications for trying to shame me for doing what I had to do to feed my kids.
and here's a link to my OnlyFans where you can donate to my campaign.
Well, that was a sentence that I don't know that she would have put in there, but sure. Yeah, exactly. So what is
We have
David Craig?
tiers. We have patronage tiers.
I'm an adult.
What
Move
do we
on.
get for the $5 tier? What do we get for the $500 tier?
I'm an adult. Move on. I don't care that she did this. I don't care that she did this. It's the response.
We could have a LawTube tier for $5 you get me.
No.
$500 you get Rob.
No,
And you have to pay a certain amount or else you still get me. It's like past a certain it's got to be at least $30 or else.
You get pictures of Ian holding firearms in like semi-nude.
Mm.
Oh my God. No.
That's not actually allowed on
this is my
OnlyFans.
It's not. All right. But I don't care. I don't care that she did any of this. It's her going out and saying they did this illegally. They did all this other stuff. I'm not going to accept any responsibility for what I did in my own life with my own husband to try and put food on the table for anybody else. I'm going to just deny it. I'm going to say that this was a hit job, that these people are misogynists. No, they're not. They're just pointing something out that might make you a little bit suspect. Like, hey, why didn't you disclose this part of your life? Or when we ask you about this part of your life, why are you coming back and blaming us for being monsters?
But I mean,
when all we're doing is saying, look,
accountability is not misogyny. How about that?
this is better than the photos of Trudeau that came out. So
I get it. So, and here's the overnight
Also
joke.
better than the pictures of former governors of Virginia.
It's true. This is a comment that I think it bears a little bit of discussion. Overnight Joe, Chatterbait itself does not record your stream. You have to use third-party tools to record others. Somebody recorded her and uploaded it elsewhere, which is a violation. That's true. It might be a violation. However, here's the thing. When you were uploading to that website, the article discloses that multiple websites will archive that footage. So they will have bots that will basically be watching and recording and archiving it and putting it on their own sites. Did she have any ability to discover that before uploading it herself? And even so, even if it was just to 5,700 people, the idea that those 5,700 people would have to be acting maliciously to forward that or to say, hey, this might be this person, that's a stretch for me. This legal argument, I don't see going anywhere.
Nope.
It's a good point, though, Overnight Joe, and thank you for that clarification. So, I don't know. I'm sure this is a difficult time.
She's trying to shift blame. Look at all these evil people sharing information that I openly, publicly shared to any random passerby.
I'm sure this is a difficult time for Susanna and her family.
Why is she acting like she has shame? Why would she? Does she have shame? Is she ashamed?
Why?
Does she have a conscience and realize that she did something wrong? She's a politician, though, so that seems unlikely.
Corey Silverstein, a prominent adult entertainment industry lawyer. I don't. That's an interesting title to have. So there's nothing illegal about streaming it. Yada yada. There's absolutely no law that they're violating. None. He said. Well, that's when a lawyer says this. That's pretty bold. In this case, you have two adults who are engaging in a consensual act. They decided they wanted to broadcast that, and they're doing so in exchange for tipping. There's absolutely nothing illegal about it. I'm not saying it is illegal.
Probably true. It's probably true.
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that the response.
There's plenty of things that are not illegal that will still prevent you from getting elected.
and you're engaging in
if
political, politics. They are going to find everything about you. People have asked, Rob, why don't you run for judge? No. Rob, why don't you do that? No.
We can't run for judge in Virginia.
No, you can't. But I don't want that scrutiny because I don't know what I don't think there's.
I'm going to run for judge. They can bring up all my streams. It'll be hilarious. It'll be the greatest campaign ever.
Why are you subjecting yourself to that if you know that this is in your immediate, not just in your past, not like it's not like they pulled something up from 10 years ago. They pulled something up from like a month ago.
Yeah.
Like, hey, hon, well, how was that campaign dinner? Let's go ahead and live stream. What? And then shame on everyone else for like noticing. Oh, yeah. It just boggles the mind.
It smacks of total lack of accountability.
It just doesn't.
I don't want to be held accountable for my actions. I want to deflect and blame others.
I mean, as I said, I got no problem with her having, done it. It just is what it is. But the denial in the like weird blame everyone else kind of way, that's it.
Crazy
I don't like the response.
With a very generous super chat. Thank you very much, Crazy Cat Queen. I'm pretty sure the Washington Post paid the appropriate fees to research the subject. Oh, well, that's the other part. If the Washington Post paid and got access to it directly, then you run that risk. When you're putting it out, you run the risk that someone who's paying is a reporter.
Yep.
And is going to report on what they're seeing.
Or your political opposition.
And Crazy Cat Queen embraces what I was just saying. Why not just grin and say thank you for the exposure? Also, Rob, for my super chat, can you show us Ziggy Sawdust? Seems like you needed him last week. Ziggy's up there hanging out. I'll grab him in a minute.
I mean,
thank you.
I feel like she did the exposure first, but
yeah.
I'm sorry. I got to make the jokes.
I couldn't get to that joke.
It's fine.
Enough.
No, it's fine. And they're appropriate jokes. What I hate is that people are like, you can't make jokes about this. You can make jokes about this.
I can make the jokes about anything I want. This is America, USA.
You're allowed to make
USA.
You are allowed to make jokes about this. This is a public figure who put themselves out politically and says, I'm going to run for a campaign. And to be honest, under the First Amendment analysis, there are other people just like her who have been raked over the coals. What is it? Madison Cawthorn, who had that little video of him leaked a couple years ago. And then what was the other guy? Anthony Weiner.
He did a porn video?
He got caught in a video that got disseminated of him naked doing stuff. Then there was Anthony Weiner with his little, like the person
with his little wiener.
Well, I didn't say that. I guess I probably,
you kind of set it up.
If you're a politician and you're doing this, you're a public figure. You have to anticipate ridicule. I get ridiculed all the time, oftentimes for the fact that do we get the feed pics again? I get ridiculed for the feed pics. There were no feed pics.
Do your coworkers know about Wood Daddy stacks yet?
Probably do now. I don't know. But I get ridiculed all the time.
What paralegal has your firm secretly assigned to watch this stream and
to watch this stream and say what's going on? I don't know. I don't know. And I do not have.
Is there a paralegal preparing an internal memorandum as we speak?
I freaking hope not. No.
Hi, paralegal friend.
Hi. Whatever they're paying you, it's not enough.
You need a raise. I have said dumb things on the internet,
but not like Anthony Weiner's raise.
I can't then go back and say I wish I never would have. No, I did it, guys. I did it. I was expressing myself in the moment. And with regard to the feet pics, that was a freaking video I filmed for a Trials of the Century to show how Lizzie Borden would have been hacking a thing, and I just forgot that I had sandals on and not work boots. And I was ridiculed for not wearing proper safety equipment.
That's the real thing is safety gear, bro.
Yeah.
Did you have eye protection on in that video?
I did. So the comic part about it. I was wearing eye protection, but flip-flops. The foot video was an old TOTC. Yes. It was yeeted because it was the old trial century. It was yeeted because it was someone was making
copyright issues.
Copyright issues. Marsha Barnick, thank you very much. Love this romance. Rob, Kurt, and Ian. Thank you, Marsha. That's very kind of you. Overnight Joe, we caught that one. Thank you. 20th Century Fox. Does Lady Chatterbait have political experience? I don't know. I'm certain people are going to ask her about that. Apple Silver. I like a story with a happy ending. Oh God, that was there. Ian Paler. Any bets on whether she's for an open government? Casey McCloy. Can't wait to see the debate. Better oral skills are excellent.
Jesus.
These are the jokes. When you do this, you line up for it. Ryan May YBC have expensed a $3,000 gentleman's club bill for entertaining automotive buyers. Well, okay, I can see that. That's expensible. Nick M. In NJ, we call it Friday. Ian Paler, if she's spineless, oh God, if she's spineless, if her back was broken.
That's a good one. That's good.
Oh, some of these, man, these are, and they're good-hearted jokes, folks. It's not malicious. The Truffle Hound, yikes! Cost of living crisis must be biting hard if politicians are promoting and urging and change. Sorry. Cost of living crisis must be biting hard if politicians are promoting and charging to view such activities. Usually they pay to cover them up. That's a good one. I like that. Mackenzie, you guys have helped me realize I might have ADHD, and now I'm trying to get started on getting diagnosed and learning coping techniques. Thank you, Mackenzie.
I'm just glad a politician's having a sex scandal that is with a consenting adult.
That's a true.
That's been a while. Like
that is very, very, very true. L. Fliggins, if the future of politicians' pants scandals is doing it with your spouse in a highly consensual environment, sign me up for the future.
Yeah.
That's what Ian said. Yep, that's Ian's exact comment. Yep. Kaika Taxi, can I get your guys' thoughts on the 3 men found not guilty in Governor Michigan Gretchen Whitmer's trial? I did not cover that trial. And I know that Kurt was covering the Ken Paxton case. So I don't know that any of us saw that trial, but I did see that news came across. So might be something to look into. Here for years,
particularly surprising. I covered a little bit in its preliminaries when it was still being like investigated and like when it was first coming to trial. But yeah, it isn't particularly surprising because there were a lot of like really weird things, particularly with law enforcement that looked very entrappy. And I was like, normally entrapment's a pretty hard trigger to pull, and I was like,
they went really far. They went to the point where I think, as I recall, they were kind of drawing up the scheme itself.
Yeah.
And when the law enforcement goes from being observers, it felt weird. Here for years, Wood Daddy, Leather Daddy, Cowboy Daddy. This is going to be good. Well, we've made it.
I can get my cowboy hat.
Well, that's true. New Zealand butterfly girl Heather. Sorry, off topic, but how do you learn to be a lawyer in the U.S.? You have U.S. and state laws. So do you have to know them all, or just the state you work in? I'm always impressed how you keep so much in your head. Kurt, you're the one to answer this because you just took the bar in Texas. Your second bar in 14 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
this is a good question.
So I suppose the easiest way to answer that question is, you learn when you're learning the law, you learn it in a sort of very generalized way, and then you get down to specifics. So for example, in law school, you'll learn law in a way that is uniform. So it's a 30,000 foot view, so if you like. So it's not going to be necessarily precise on the details, but it's an accurate enough map to like be a universal representation. And then
you start
most
learning,
lawyers
like, just how to think like a lawyer.
Yeah. And then most lawyers tend to hyper specialize. Like my previous career was 15 years as a patent lawyer, and it was hyper specialized. It was computer databases, search engines. So it was hyper specialized, not even just computer software, hyper specialized computer software, very, very niche, very specific. and you become like a super expert in one thing. That's the best answer I can give to the question.
Mm-hmm. A lot of years.
The Dread Pirate Weasley did take Kurt 6 times to pass. No, I passed the first time both times.
Dread Pirate Wesley. Oh, I watched The Princess Bride again last night.
I had heard this rumor before. Someone said they thought that I had failed in Virginia. No, I passed the first time in Virginia and the first time in Texas.
Virginia's brain is, or not Virginia's brain. Kurt's brain is incredible at remembering that stuff. I didn't have any doubt. I thought he was too hard on himself, and I think he passed very, very well. So yeah.
Yeah, in Virginia and Texas, I passed by 34 points. I passed by
Jesus.
Yeah, like more than 10% over more than I needed. So I passed by quite a healthy margin.
Kurt, did you see this news that came out this week?
There is a brand new bar exam. Yeah, the new bar exam. 3 hours off testing time. I might take the new bar exam just to contrast and compare. That'd be hilarious. See if what's going on with this thing.
Why would you do? What is wrong with you, you monster?
I'm a glutton for punishment, Rob.
Kurt will take the bar exam recreationally.
Oh my God.
You got to stay sharp, man.
Oh, that hurts my soul. So the new bar exam is set to debut in July of 2026, about 3 hours shorter than the current one.
Chat, you heard it here first. Lawyers still have souls.
We do. We do. They get tested, but we do. All right. So over 1.5 days. So 12 hours long. Why are we focused on the fact it's being shorter? Minimum competence can be assessed just as well in 9 hours as in 12. Well, that logic is interesting because then next year they'll say it can be assessed
6 is
in
easily
6
9,
hours.
3 is easily
Yeah,
6.
Did your head go right there immediately? Like it's
Of course it did.
Listen, the next version is going to be 10 minutes and it'll just happen out in the back alley behind the Wendy's.
Oh my God, that sounded dark.
I kind of aimed for it to be ambiguous.
KL Burke, Kurt, do you know if there are any coincidences in Austin?
Yeah, this is a big thing in Austin. The Paxton trial. Both sides have been throwing this phrase around. There are no coincidences in Austin. It came up multiple times in the closing. Apparently, the saying there are no coincidences in Austin has now been offered for the truth of the matter asserted, and apparently just accepted in court by both sides as reality. That it is in fact true. There are no coincidences in Austin. It's been a thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
JR, speaking of politicians saying things, Ian, you need to show Rob the infamous video of Rob Ford.
Oh God.
That's a long time ago, Rob Ford. That's a long time ago.
Are you guys familiar with Rob Ford?
With the cocaine?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. He used to be Canada's greatest comedian. So, yeah.
You can send that to me anytime. Paladin Phil. Lawyers have souls. Lease from Kia, no doubt. Darcy, yes, thank you for the super chat. The three Michigan militia guys were found not guilty because although they participated in the tactical exercise, they didn't learn what they were doing it until the very end. Interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So they lacked mens rea. They didn't have the mental capacity to.
There was no criminality, you know. It's like there's nothing wrong with doing the tactical training.
Yeah,
so that's not illegal. So
you can play fight all you want. You just can't fight. Nine Snails Gal, Kurt, that was exactly what I would do. Take the new exam to compare and contrast. Curiosity makes a lot of punishment. Y'all are gluttons. That's wild. Papercelli, Ian looks like he's feeling much better. He does look that way, doesn't he?
I've still got a bit of you can hear it sometimes. Still sort of clearing out my my lungs there, but is what it is.
Yep. And I'm going to get to the earlier super chats in a little bit. Don't worry, I have them all starred, but I do want to make through our topics. So what shall we cover next? We've got Tom Girardi.
Again, what's up with him?
Oh, his competency. It's competency evaluation.
That's not fun.
Well, what he said
sad.
was. What he
I
said
mean, it kind of is fun. This one is fun.
All right. Take your word for it. What else you got on the docket?
We've got Girardi competency, Murdaugh.
I could read more from the book if we do Murdaugh.
No, Murdaugh.
The book is great. I've got the book. We've been reading it on stream. It's glorious.
You bought the book. You paid for that.
I did buy the book.
Crap.
I bought the book, and I've been reading it during breaks in the Ken Paxton trial. Would you like me to read you some from the book?
Do you have a specific passage or area of the book that you would like to highlight?
Oh, it's all equally glorious.
Oh, good. Let's do a swoop, and then we'll do a short reading. How's that? I think that sounds fun.
Okay.
Old swoop, new swoop.
New swoop.
New swoop. In 3, 2.
You went to stop early.
Your timing.
You went on 2.
Second. I didn't.
You said 3, 2, and then you pushed swoop.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
We needed a swoop do-over.
We did, because Kurt's timing is usually epic with that one. Yeah, Island, I did see this. That Becky reads the audio version herself. Just FYI.
Oh God,
I can't. I live for Kurt's theatrical readings of anything. So Kurt, if you wouldn't mind just finding a passage and reading not too much of it to get me hit for copyright, but just enough to give the people a taste.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. If they come up to you for copyright for infringement for this one, I'll be amazed. She has bigger problems.
To preview what is being discussed right now.
But she might need the lawsuit to fund those bigger problems.
To preview what's being discussed right now, Alex Murdaugh filed a motion for a new trial based on certain actions that were taken by the clerk of the court, the elected clerk of court for Colleton County. The elected clerk of court for Colleton County is alleged to have conducted a lot of jury interference during the course of the trial, and apparently unrebutted, flew with the jurors to New York to do the Today Show interviews, spoke with the jurors on several occasions, had an inherent just understanding of what was in the jurors' hearts, and then decided that it was the best idea in the world within 5 months of the verdict against Alex Murdaugh to write a book and describe all of her interactions with the jury and her observations at the trial from a position, well, where she shouldn't be talking. So
not quite the same positions as our last story, but still not a great position.
Those were positions you couldn't be talking in.
I will read a little bit. I will read a little bit from Chapter 7, entitled "Judges' Rules."
Oh no!
In which the clerk of court, whose role among other things was to read the verdict, writes the following, and she says, "Quote: The courthouse domain is ruled by the clerk of court. However, a courtroom is ruled by the judge who's presiding over it. The judge's rules are to be honored and respected and followed by everyone within the courtroom, even the clerk of court. One would think that nobody would disrespect the court and the judge's rules or go against anything the judge said, but one would be mistaken. Some believe they're entitled, and the average law doesn't apply to them. These are the ones who would disobey the judge's rules, but they wouldn't call it that. They would find another way to characterize it so it would put them in the best light possible."
This is getting ironic.
Just as it was awkwardly interacting on surface level with Alex each day for 6 weeks at the trial of the century, I was also conflicted in trying my best to accommodate the rest of the Murdaugh family. I had professional dealings with many of them. In all instances, I had always had respect and taken care to treat them as kindly as they treated me, although I did have to deal with some unforeseen instances that occurred during the Murdaugh trial. I had heard it said by some that the Murdaughs were similar in ways to Bill Clinton. Obviously, there are stories about long lines of Murdaughs and their actions, indiscretions, and family secrets. It's obviously they've done some things not to be proud of, but they admit to very little, if anything at all. They could run akin to the Kennedy family as well. The writing is the glory. The writing is the glory. Pulitzer Prize, Nobel Prize for literature. It's glorious. Their Murdaugh family's Southern tradition of sticking together has been passed down from generation to generation. I think sticking together is a shared Southern tradition, and so many of us who were born and bred here in the Deep South could be accused of doing it. In more recent years, the talk around the town was that much was done for Alex, Paul, and Buster in cleaning up their messes. Behind closed door, Alex's older sister and I met, and we shared a few discussions on courtroom protocol.
I can't
Much of
take
what was
anymore.
discussed were procedures Judge Newman wanted to observe in his courtroom, and I was tasked with making sure everyone respected and followed the guidelines. The
You mean, like,
main character energy
not-
is so real.
You mean like
I have-
procedures like not talking to the juror, which she admitted to doing in front of Judge Newman, and Judge Newman said was a problem? I mean,
The main character energy is so real
Guys,
in this book.
people in the chat, a lot of you aren't as old as I am, and so you don't remember a time before cell phones.
you're not.
Where
Yes, they're not 3,000 years old.
If you went to the bathroom, you were probably just like grabbing a random shampoo bottle and reading the ingredients to keep yourself entertained while you did other business. The back of those shampoo bottles was better reading than her book.
That was a long lead up, buddy. That was a long lead up, but it was well worth it. Kurt, would you like to proceed? Does it get worse?
It remains of a consistent quality flair.
Oh, God.
Technically, Paul and Maggie's family members were considered victims, while Alex was the defendant. In this case, the line between victim and family member and defense was very, very thin.
Hold up. Did she really write in that book? Technically, Maggie's family members were considered victims?
Yeah, that's what it says. Yes.
Rob, do you need to mute yourself so you can swear?
I'm processing. What the hell? All right. I'm sorry. You may proceed.
However, in the courtroom, the rules sometimes change, and those rules are not mine. They belong to the judge, and this trial was Judge Newman's. I was approached by security and also received multiple emails from people watching the trial on TV that some Murdaugh family members were interacting with the defendant, such as fist bumping, mouthing to each other, even handing up contraband to Alex, such as a book by John Grisham entitled The Judge's List. It's akin to a coach not allowing to help his star player out once he or she steps out between the lines onto the tennis court.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
It too creates an unfair advantage in the court of law where the stakes are much, much higher. Several times I had to meet with Lynn, John Marvin, and other members of the Murdaugh family. Each time I met with them, there was an understanding.
How's it an unfair advantage that he got a Grisham book? Oh. It's a good thing I don't have a sword within reach because I would probably fall on it.
Okay. Let's skip ahead a little bit. As a result, Judge Newman ordered the Murdaugh family to sit in the back row of the first section of the courtroom. Any other behavior not in line with Judge Newman's rules would find the family outside the courtroom and the courthouse. This was their last chance.
Oh my God.
And I guess we'll read it there so that we don't read too much of the book so that you won't get copyright struck. Plus, I don't want to spoil it for all the people who are now going to reach out and buy this book for themselves, I'm sure.
This is so bad. So bad.
I could go back to where she reads the verdict in chapter 1, which might be my favorite, just how the book starts.
That is, for those of you who are sitting here going, this is an interesting read. The clerk of the court, the elected clerk of the court, is responsible for the administration of the court. The administration of the court. Basically, making sure that the computers are up and running, that the lights are on, that the people that are entering and exiting are appropriately screened. And actually, that's the sheriff's department. That's not the clerk's job. The clerk's job is to make sure that the files are properly indexed, exhibits are properly saved, stored, and maintained for appellate records, that cases are being processed and run through in accordance with what we would expect of a properly functioning courthouse. It has nothing to do with the rules in the courtroom, enforcing or otherwise. Enforcing the rules in the courtroom is up to the judge and the judge's bailiffs, the sheriff's department. My God, this is... Kurt, did you find the part you wanted to read?
Okay.
Beginning? Oh, no.
Oh, this is good. No, we'll go from here. Deep in thought, I sat in my upstairs window, staring out the window, overlooking the front of the courthouse square. The sun had already set, and darkness covered the town. I could see the courthouse flagpole with our American flag and our state flag flying and dancing in the wind. The light was shining on them, putting them in the spotlight. Would justice be done tonight? Would we receive a verdict of truth? But above all, what would be the end of a very stress-filled 6-month period of preparation and trial execution, I was about to read the verdict. And I would not know if it was guilty or not guilty until after the judge had read it to himself and handed it to me down from the bench. In an instant, my mind broke away from these reflections and brought me back to the present. And just like that, I picked up my cell phone and dialed Melinda Nettles, my friend and mentor. She and her husband were the ones who had encouraged me to run for Colton County Clerk of Court in early spring of 2020. As the Clerk of Court in neighboring Hampton County, Melinda is also my trusted colleague. She has read hundreds of verdicts during her career, and she was the one person who could truly empathize with me.
It's a backstory.
By the time she picked up my call, my heart was beating faster. I said to her,
"Nobody cares about your backstory, lady. Like,
I said to her,
you don't have a superhero origin story. You are just some random person nobody gives about."
I said to her, I don't think I could read this verdict. In sweet, nurturing Southern drawl, Melinda said, honey, it's just like every other verdict you've read in this court.
I believe her that I'm not sure she can read. When she says she was going to have some trouble reading, I believe her.
Melinda's pep talk had helped, but I still wasn't convinced I should read the verdict. When Judge Newman reconvened the court and brought the jury back in, I became a bit nervous again. I was used to reading charges against defendants who were involved in bar shootings, driving without licenses, and drug deals. Regular, average kinds of folk. Okay, but this was Murdaugh. This was life-changing. Life-changing for Alex and his whole family.
Wow.
I was advised by another friend in this judicial realm to remain level-headed and be the great clerk of court that you are and treat this as any other defendant on trial. They checked in with me every text message to ensure my mental health was okay. They also sent prayers for me and everyone is involved. Main character energy.
I can't. Whoa.
Listen, ladies, all you had to do was basically nothing.
It flows off the page. It flows off the page.
Wow.
And straight into the trash can.
Wow.
Oh, man.
I can't. I thought the passages that were quoted, I thought those were the bad ones. No. Crazy Cat Queen, I love you, and thank you for the super chat. Rob, motion to read Peter pitches a tent instead of Becky Hill. Dribble, please. Also, Rob, grab Ziggy before you end up with a migraine. I have Ziggy. He's here.
I have a migraine.
Her job is literally to read the verdict, and she wrote 19 chapters about it. 19 chapters.
I can't. This is so now we have to cover Murdaugh. At least, oh my god. Oh, this is so bad.
It's 170 pages of glory.
No, it's not. The whole book's 170 pages.
Yeah, at least in Kindle form.
I feel like it's 170 pages of whole, maybe no glory.
Oh my god. Oh my god. My brain is
So anytime you need filler, I always have more book.
that I was trying to wonder, whether Chad Daybell's novel.
I have those too.
Nope. The debate in my head was
those
which one
too.
was worse.
I have the books from Chad Daybell, and they're also glorious.
Yeah, somebody sent me a much better book.
Yeah.
We're not reading that one either.
No. Yeah,
All right. So I guess we're covering Murdaugh.
I'm sure somebody could write a better book about
anything?
watching paint drying than she did about a court, about a trial.
Yeah.
I've never seen someone like over. No, that's a lot, man. That's a whole lot that she put in there. Oh, the drama, well read, Kurt. I agree. Truffle Hound with the jokes. Does the Pulitzer have a People's Choice category?
I don't know. If you'd like some Chad Daybell, we've got
Nope.
City.
Nope.
The
We
Great
don't need
Gathering.
Chad. Nope.
Keys of the Kingdom.
Kurt,
Martial
put the Kindle
Law.
away. Put that
The
Kindle
Renewed
away.
Earth. Rise of Zion. And Standing in Holy Places. I have got 7 different books.
No,
from Chad Daybell we could read.
The Kindle is done for the evening.
Standing in Holy Places.
Oh my god, that was. But
the Kindle is glorious.
That was worth the read.
Kindle can store thousands of books, and this is what I choose to store on them.
Oh, Adrian Angevine, thank you.
You know they're gonna they're gonna like repossess your Kindle for abusing it. They're gonna be like, that is not what it's for.
Thank you. Rob, this book is not up to the exceedingly high literary standards of your usual book readings on this channel. Can we have quality story to balance this? My ears and brain hurt. I cannot read those, and I will not read those on this. I reserve those for member streams because those books are of the like that Ian just showed the cover of. Yeah. Baby Gator, Jesus would like to be removed from this conversation. Victor Mann. Projection. Yep. 90 Tales, Gal, Glutton for Punishment, Morbid Curiosity, and Lack of Impulse Control. I'm kind of amazed. I'm still alive with all the body parts whole and functional. A lot of us are, as my age of adult. V. McWilliams. Why didn't the bailiff say something to her? I don't know. Will the real Ray E please stand up? I'm going to put the cap on my swivel knife now and not think about trying to stab it into my heart.
I will say this. It's just the last point. I can honestly say that Chad Daybell is a better writer than this woman. I can say that unironically.
If that's a leather swivel knife, then that would be a very difficult task.
Yeah, she had help. Creed M in the back of the book, she tells how she ordered my bailiff, oh my, to put her friends in the front row so they could see better the names of the bailiffs by first and last. Holy crap, does she really do that?
I don't know. We could turn to the right chapter and read.
Wow.
Well, and DUI guy was reporting that that she had gotten him better seats. So that tracks. Maybe he could be called as a witness.
ADHD. Oh no. The book has ghostwriter and still that bad?
Oh yeah.
Just Gingy. Kurt, can you repeat that email, please?
Which email?
Kurt's email? Kurt's email is uncivil law at uncivil law at Gmail?
Yeah, Kurt at uncivillawllc.com.
Kurt at
KURT at uncivillawllc.com is how to email me.
Do you think the clerk will face charges for the confessions of the book? No.
I hope she does.
Should she?
I think she should for the trying to get the courthouse rental deal to have her own to pitch her book.
That's self-dealing and trying to use your office for financial gain.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably a charge.
That's straight up corruption, and yeah.
I think it's I don't know. I am of the mind that the trolling and the public ridicule that she's facing right now. Do I want to see independent charges? Is there another chance this woman's going to get the same notoriety or any similar position? I don't know. So I'm of two minds about it. I think that I actually would like to see a charge come from this. I don't like what she did.
I'm of one mind
itself,
which is take her to town.
It's the book. It's the book. It's not the allegations by by Murdaugh's attorneys. It's not those allegations. It's her book. And people keep saying, well, she's self-published. I don't give a shit. I don't care that she self-published this book. It's not the self-publishing that's the problem. The problem is what she's actually saying. She is subverting the rules of the court. She is enacting rules that she doesn't have authority to enact. She's engaging in behavior that is a function of the court, the judge, and not the clerk. Everything she's doing and admitting to doing in this book, this is self-snitching.
Oh yeah, big time.
Katrina, so where do they think Boebert's money came from? I don't know. I don't care. Politicians get money from wherever they get it from. I don't like them. I don't like any of them. Susanna Burfoot, Becky's book is an exercise of what not to write. I would agree. Chuggy Show Live, did the Kindle give consent? Maybe it likes it. Oh, that was a naughty super chat, but also funny. Jen, happy Friday, all drinking wine and crocheting. You need that kind of mental break. Nicole, Cat W, Austin Lawnards are the best. Can't wait to see you all again. I've met so many amazing people through this community. And then Ange Torres, again, Nicole can't say the same, bows down to the queen of pancakes. Well, there's a back and forth via super chat. Nicole, Ange Torres, same. I'm in Texas, never been dehydrated in my life, not once. You're communicating via super chat, and that's okay. Okay. Lindsay, speaking of Rob's friends on YouTube, Brandon Wandering Bard also put it in his song. I'll use that for the next bathroom break. So let's do the Murdaugh stuff and just kind of go through where we are now. How about that? That sounds logical. So as we know, this is kind of where we left off. Motion to suspend the appeal for leave to file a new trial. And again, this cites a lot of the misbehavior that has been alleged. This was filed by Mr. Dick Hart Poot, Dick Poot, who filed all these exhibits and said all this bad stuff happened, citing the clerk of the court. Okay. A lot that you guys would remember from the interview, etc., were references that he made to things that they felt or they knew during the trial, and that after the verdict they knew they had to look into this, right? Oddly enough, that ends up being front and center in the response that was filed today. Well, this is the State Ethics Commission letter to Becky Hill. I feel like I have to read this again because you read the. Yeah, I do. I'm reading this again because you just read from the book. And it's fresh on people's minds. Dear Ms. Hill, thank you for your request for an informal opinion from the State Ethics Commission. An informal opinion is the opinion of the Commission's staff, taking into consideration the applicable formal opinions, laws, and or judicial decisions. Please be advised that an informal opinion is not binding on the Commission. Additionally, the Commission's jurisdiction is limited to the applicability of the Ethics, Government Accountability, and Campaign Reform Act of 1991. This opinion is based solely on the facts relayed by you, and does not supersede any other statutory or regulatory restrictions or procedures which may apply to the situation. A failure to disclose relevant information may void the opinion.
I wonder how that would happen.
Yeah, that part might come up. In an email, you submitted the following relevant information, April 28th of 2023. Good morning, Courtney. My name is Rebecca Hill, and I am the clerk of the court in Cotton County. I have a question about the writing of a book by a clerk of the court about the process of trial from beginning to end, focusing on the process itself, the history of it, and of course, the high-profile cases that South Carolina has had. What would be the ethical procedures behind this? Well, that's a question. And I go back to the process of trial. Focus on the process itself, the history of it, and of course, the high-profile cases. Presumably, in this sentence, meaning you're talking about the processes behind those cases and some of the significant procedural things that went on. Maybe not, how you called your best friend the day before you read the verdict and said you couldn't do it and moved people around the courtroom and made your own rules. This is not the question that you think it is, Ms. Hill. And here's the problem for Ms. Hill, because the commission comes right back and gives her the relevant authority.
Because there's just one.
Well, there's lots of them. But here's the big problem. No public employee may knowingly use his official employment to obtain an economic interest for himself, a family member, an individual with whom he is associated, or a business with which he is associated. This prohibition does not extend to the incidental use of public materials, personnel, or equipment subject to or available for a public employee's use that does not result in additional public expense. Problems are starting. Problem number 2, no person may offer to pay to a public employee, and no public employee may solicit or receive money in addition to that received by the public employee in his official capacity for advice or assistance given in the course of his employment as a public employee. The code defines official capacity as activities which arise because of the position held by the public official. For example, activities that arise because this person is the clerk of the court, namely what she is doing as a clerk of the court, decisions she's making, is she profiting off of those, that involve matters which fall within the official responsibility of the agency, are services the agency would normally provide for and for which the public official or employee would be subject to expense reimbursement. And now this is here's the coup de grace. A public employee may not willfully or may not use or disclose confidential information gained in the course of or by reason of his official responsibilities in a way that would affect the economic interest held by him, a member of his family, an individual with whom he associated, or a business which was associated therewith. They may not willfully examine or aid or abet in the willful examination of confidential documents. That's not really that relevant. But confidential information. This is what confidential information is. What she is not allowed to discuss. Information, whether transmitted, orally, spoken, or in writing, which is obtained by reason of the public position.
Yeah.
Judge
in other
Newman
words, if
told
the
me
only
this.
reason you would know is because of your job.
Yeah. You can't profit off of it, which is obtained by that and held and is such nature that it is not at the time of transmission a matter of public record. For example, Judge Newman says to Ms. Becky, by the way, I'm concerned about the people in the back of the courtroom. This is not public. This is for administrative purposes. Please move them to another side of the courtroom. Confidential, an instruction from the judge, official duties. You would not have had it otherwise. The public doesn't get access to that information. Now you publish a book using that information.
Well, I don't, because that'd be crazy.
That would be. All right. So that's Ms. Becky's problem. But going back to the motion, that was the motion to suspend. The AG had until today to file their response. This is the response that was filed this afternoon, kind of late in the afternoon, but here it is. And it's a lot lighter than I thought it would be. I know they're kind of in a crunch for time. Caveat. Let me pull this down for a second. Did you guys watch the hearing of Murdaugh in court?
No.
Well, the problem is that the microphone was terribly set up. I can't play it. Like I cannot subject anyone online to the listening of that because I had to like mute it 20 times because Judge Newman's mic is right here. So everyone else is on a boom mic, like way away. And every time Judge Newman talks, it's like, "Can you hear me now?" It was so loud you couldn't hear anything. But I will confirm that Dick Harpootlian and Creighton Waters fucking hate each other. They hate each other.
I mean, to be fair, it's Dick Poot, so everybody hates Dick Poot.
He's got sort of southern charm to him.
They were going at it. It was like usually the judge they were making a motion to change venue and to defer the trial for his other financial crimes to after the beginning of next year. And they went back and forth. And the judge usually says the person who makes the motion gets one opportunity to talk, response, and then you get rebuttal. That's it. 3. Boom, boom, boom. 1. Pootlian, Waters, Pootlian. They went back and forth like 9 times.
I've met Dick Poot in person.
Really?
It was very, very long ago, but yeah. He was my representative in South Carolina. Also, my family used him as a attorney once when I was young. And I met him in person. Yeah.
Lawyers will usually kind of abide by the judges, like kind of saying, "I'm done." Nope.
Not this time.
Nope. They were going after each other. It was entertaining to watch. But the AG had until today to file their response to the motion for new hearing. And this is that response. Document, where are you? So on September 5th, the appellant moved to suspend his appeal and grant leave to file a motion for new trial based on a blend of mixed allegations broadly directed at the Colleton County Clerk of the Court, Rebecca Hill. Okay. All right. I can see you're trying to wiggle around it. The respondent would show as follows. A motion for a new trial based on after discovered evidence may not be made while the case is on appeal unless the appellate court, upon motion, has suspended the appeal and granted leave to make the motion. There can be no doubt.
That's what he's asking for, though.
He is, but he filed them simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's a procedural thing, and that's kind of what he hangs his hat on. There can be no doubt that motions of this sort should be received with the utmost caution because, as it is said by a learned judge, there are but few cases tried in which something may not be hunted up, and also because it tends to perjury. How far back? Oh, there it is. I was going, how far back did they go to get this language? 1934. Something new may not be hunted up, and because it tends to perjury. It would have a mischievous tendency, after all the evidence on the part of the state had been fully disclosed, to allow one with his life in danger an opportunity by the assistance of Confederates to procure unprincipled witnesses to contradict the evidence on the part of the state and thereby defeat the ends of justice.
So if they're saying that these are unprincipled witnesses, then what they're saying is the jury was unprincipled? I mean, you got to be really careful how you throw these rocks.
And that's the thing. He's kind of picking rocks to throw, and he's trying to be careful. He's like, I'm not calling the jurors unprincipled, but
maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little, but he cites this case from 1800. So we are in the weeds, folks. We are in 1934 and 1800. To prevail on his request to suspend the appeal and have the matter remanded to the circuit court to proceed on a motion for a new trial, the appellant must show the evidence in question is such that will probably change the result of the trial if granted. The evidence has been discovered since the trial. The evidence could not have been discovered prior to trial by the exercise of due diligence, and the evidence is material to the issue of guilt or innocence, and the evidence is not merely cumulative or impeaching. But I think this is kind of misstating the standard. Because what Harpootlian was arguing was that it's not after discovered evidence. Well, the type of evidence I think is presumptively prejudicial, right?
I feel like
if it's true, it's structural error.
It's structural error. It's presumptively prejudicial. So a lot of these factors aren't considered there. So they cite this case, 1983, not the oldest. We're good. Additionally, if it's essential to the consideration of a motion for a new trial based on after discovered evidence, that such motion shall be supported by an affidavit of the accused himself. Well, now there we go. That's what Creighton Waters wants.
But what does the accused know? I was in the trial and I saw nothing.
And this is what he is citing. He cites this random thing from the D'Angelo case, which I don't think is on point. I think this is distinguishable, clearly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it says, unless a valid and sufficient reason for the omission to file such an affidavit is shown, the affidavit by the accused, the affidavit of the accused must show that he did not know of the existence of such evidence at the time of the trial.
That would be impossible.
That's what I'm saying.
There is no possible way he could know about the evidence at the time of the trial, because it literally didn't exist at the time of the trial, because it's about jury tampering that happened at the end of the trial. So it's proven, it's self-proven. Stop wasting my time.
Yep. This is distinguishable. This has no applicability here. And that he used due diligence to discover such evidence, or that he could not have discovered it by the exercise of due diligence. So this is basically saying,
it hadn't happened yet, so I'm pretty sure I couldn't have discovered it. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, come on. Why didn't he break out his time machine?
The story of Clock. Clock can tell you all about it.
Do you see where they're going?
Time machine?
But do you see where like all of this is about getting Murdaugh to write an affidavit? Because you know what's going to happen when he writes an affidavit. You know what's going to happen if he writes the affidavit. What are they going to do?
Murdaugh doesn't have anything to say.
Well, no, what are they going to do?
He doesn't know anything.
They're going to cross-examine him.
Well, they're going to cross-examine him, and then they're also going to say he's a known liar. He was found to be a liar. They are going to just belabor that point, but this has nothing to do with what Murdaugh observed or didn't observe. Nothing. This is a
affidavit can be like the affidavit could be like, yeah, I couldn't have discovered it because that's how time works.
Side note, the AG's office keeps this reply to 4 pages. So if you wanted to know how invested they were in opposing this and how much information they thought they had in opposition to this, the 4 pages kind of tells you.
There's a time when you just keep it really short because you think it's just super obvious and you're just like, I don't want to belabor it. I don't think that's what this is, though.
And here's your massive concession. And this is the part that I read in this whole brief that I was like, oh, okay.
But the paragraph uses the phrase objective investigation by SLED, and I'm already out.
Well, no, yeah, it's the first sentence. It's the first, but it's the first sentence, because I have never, ever, Ian, when is the last time you saw a prosecutor give an inch in a brief? Ever?
Very rarely and only reluctantly.
Yes, it may well be that the suspension of the appeal and a remand for an evidentiary hearing will be necessary to properly resolve some of the serious claims raised by appellant in the motion he intends to file.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have ever seen a prosecutor just say something like that. Objective investigation by SLED remains ongoing. Footnote 1. Agents utilized by SLED for this purpose are separate and distinct from those who have otherwise investigated appellant's numerous alleged crimes.
Oh, why would you do that if you didn't think there was a problem?
But the inquiry is already revealed.
We're using SLED to investigate this. I already feel better. Oh god.
Well, and here's the problem. SLED is directly. SLED has, and there's nothing in this motion that denies anything that SLED did in the examination of jurors. There's nothing in here that says we didn't do this. It just says we're investigating. So we have an internal investigation of an agency, which I already don't trust. And the agency doing the internal investigation is one that, on the record, even being the most pro law enforcement you could be, is not impartial. And
well, listen,
yeah.
I mean, they're gonna, do the usual thing of, we investigated ourselves and we found that nothing is wrong. And of course they wouldn't say that unless nothing was wrong, right?
Yeah. Objective investigation by SLED remains ongoing, but the inquiry has already revealed significant factual disputes as to the claims in appellant's motion. Well, that would be interesting. Why don't you say some of that for us? Oh, you're not going to. If no credible evidence can be found to support the claims brought by the appellant, the state will be prepared to argue against the motion before the Honorable Clifton B. Newman on remand. That one, this is a line in the sand. That's a line in the sand. They want the Court of Appeals to know that the defense wants Newman
out
to recuse himself, arguing he's a witness.
They want.
I don't know that he is.
I think he is. Some of the suggestions are things that he was directly involved in.
True.
And could be required to testify to, like what elements, who made which decisions? Was it Newman or was it Becky Hill?
Interesting. Yeah, that's
because some of the things are questions as to whether or not some message might have been passed, like the no smoking decision.
Yeah,
was that a decision from Judge Newman or was that from Becky Hill? Because if it's from Judge Newman, that no smoking issue is gone, right? It's over. It's done. But if it's from Becky Hill,
but here's the thing. Because here's how I think the Court of Appeals might handle it. They will send it back and Newman will begin the hearing. But when the defense starts asking questions of Becky Hill, and they ask a question of Becky Hill, because here's the question. All of this presumes that Becky Hill is going to say, I talked to Judge Newman and Newman said this. Once she says that, then I think they have information to say the only person that can refute this is Judge Newman. He can't preside over it.
Yeah. And the thing is I would just say, listen, he might be a witness. Like, we don't know yet, but he might be essential, and we can't get him presiding over this and then have him like possibly have to get tossed, right? So because he might be a witness, he can't possibly preside over this.
I'm curious to see how the Court of Appeals is going to rule, because the Murdaugh's team has a chance to file a rebuttal to this within 5 days, I think. But yeah,
I mean, if I was Judge Newman, I'd be like, listen, I'm going to answer this for you. I want
out of it. Yeah. I'm out. You resolve this dispute yourselves. I will. And Newman, here's the thing. That doesn't preclude Newman from handling the retrial. Newman would say, I'll handle the retrial. But this issue here, I'm out.
Yeah. Peace.
However, go ahead.
No, I mean, that's what he'd be saying. It's just like, peace out too.
Yeah. However, at present, appellant's request for remand is procedurally defective, citing the affidavit. A review of the motion does not reveal precisely when or how he learned of the claims he's now raising.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Nor has appellant provided the affidavit required by DeAngelis.
The affidavit is pointless.
You're full of shit. Yeah. Like you're full of shit.
It's
like
pointless.
This is buying time. That's what this is. This is buying time so they can continue to have SLED investigate these jurors and see what their exposure is. This is buying time. This is a 4-page bullshit motion that grasps at strings to buy time. Appellant's counsels have, however, made multiple statements to various media outlets indicating that they are potentially aware of an issue with the jury at or about the time of the trial.
What?
In the press conference on the steps of the court on September 5th, counsels Harpootlian responded to a question as to whether they saw the alleged conduct during the jury view or found out about it after the fact. Replies, press conferences, man, I don't like them. I think we observed it. I was there. I watched it. Well, there's a whole lot of ellipses in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, ellipses
They're
are
the same
generally
press
a way.
conference. After we learned about it, he said he learned about it immediately afterwards and went to investigate. Okay. What's your point now?
Then there's the interview with Good Morning America on September 6th with Griffin. It says that soon after the trial, actually, as soon as the verdict was rendered, we had gotten some indication from folks in the courtroom that there was something untoward that happened in the jury room. We didn't know exactly what, and we went on a campaign to find out what. Why is that? That doesn't seem like, I mean, this seems like a reasonable time to find that out. Accordingly, the state is compelled to move to dismiss due to procedural defect. Judge, this is the best argument we have. The state would request
so
the court
stupid.
grant appellant
This is so
leave.
stupid.
This is what it is. Here's what it is. Grant appellant leave of 10 days to correct the procedural defect. They want Murdaugh's affidavit. They want time. In the event appellant properly files, remand may be necessary for the trial judge. The honorable, again, they want Newman to consider the credibility of the claims in light of the
Because they
significant
saw
factual
Newman,
disputes.
and
This
Newman
is
was entirely in their corner.
so. I mean, this is the response. If I'm being honest,
Lame.
yes. If I'm being honest, I thought there was going to be a more heftily argued response. I thought we were going to see something of substance. I thought we were going to see something that said they're full of shit. They lied. I thought we were going to see a lot of stuff there. There wasn't.
Nope.
This is stretching. And I'm not saying that none of this says anything good about Murdaugh. It says that if what is being alleged with regard to Becky Hill and the conduct in that trial, no defendant should ever have to face that. Ever. So, yeah. We shall see. Cheeky Show Live, why was she not required to submit a rough draft of maybe an outline for approval? Because she's a private citizen. You don't have to pre-approve unless there's national security interests. If they read what Kurt just did, they would have surely told her no. Well, she didn't give him a chance. And she
They would have told her no. It's like, even if they didn't find any ethical issues, they would have told her no just on the basis of like, you should not publish this. This is god awful.
Yeah.
It's
Nicholas, thank you. But she was so nice, said by all scammed guys thinking they got a broad girlfriend and sent her money for rent, bills, and plane ticket. All scammers are nice. Even if they weren't, they can't scam. Or if they weren't, they can't scam.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Miss Becky isn't nice. That has nothing to do with any of this.
I mean, I don't know if she's
nothing
nice
to do with any of it,
but she can come off as nice. Those are
the
different
nicest
things.
person in the world can divulge information they shouldn't. So, yeah. Pulling this up. Jacqueline B. I'm sorry I missed this earlier. I lost my brother in August. I missed your lives. Jacqueline, I'm sorry for that loss. My prayers go out to you and your family. That's really, really, really hard. Crazy Cat Queen Becky Hill quoted 2 novels still under copyright. What are the possible issues if she didn't get permission? John Grisham she quoted John Grisham? How much of John Grisham? Because if you're taking one
like
line
a
out,
quoted line, that's not going to be
she
a
quoted like little lines. It's
that's
fine.
fine. There's nothing there. There's nothing there because you're not reproducing the substance of it.
Now, if she quoted like 3 chapters,
you can't do that. That's not allowed.
It'd be a better book, but
Sardinisms on the plus side. I feel way better now about my writing. We all should. Creed M, chapter 16, lifelong friends for the bailiff. Interesting. Kristen, you have to read the super chats in order. They won't make sense. I'm sorry. I screwed that up. That's my bad, folks. Judy, you got this. For all the nice Beckys and Karens out there. That's fair. That's fair. This is not a bad Becky thing. This is a bad Becky Hill thing. So Amber, I agree with Kristen. If you read the super chat in order, they make sense. I'm sorry. I screwed that up. That's my fault. I own that. Nicole, Rob, you have to read more. You guys, I know. I own that. I'm sorry. That's my bad. So that is the Murdaugh update. Now, Girardi's quick. So do you want to do that next?
Sure.
Oh, in harmony. I like it. Well played, gentlemen. Well played indeed. So Tom Girardi, is he our first favorite unethical fraudster or second Sam Bankman-Fried?
I kind of like Sam Bankman F around because he's just funny.
Yeah.
Also, he mostly ripped off Crypto Bros, which, I kind of feel like that you should have seen coming.
That's a fair assessment. So Tom Girardi had a competency hearing to determine whether he was fit to stand trial. Now, he's being accused of various federal crimes, money laundering, theft, it just literally everything, 15 million from his clients. And during the competency hearing, one of his experts, didn't really testify favorably for him. It seems like it's going a way that he doesn't want it to go. So from Courthouse News Service, Tom Girardi interrupts the mental competency hearing to curse at the prosecutor. Rare courtroom outburst came in the middle of the third day of the hearing. Girardi stands accused of embezzling more than 15 million from his clients. You have to, the photographer that took that photo.
Wait, 15 million. Wasn't it more like 500 million?
It's a lot more than that. Yeah. This is one charge that they're citing.
Oh, okay.
Throughout
apparently said F you. Okay, that's aggressive. All right. Good times.
That's what I'm saying. Come on, let me get there, Kurt. Don't read so fast. You're really fast.
I'm reading ahead. I'm reading fast.
No. Throughout the first 2.5 days of the mental competency hearing, disgraced attorney Tom Girardi has sat stoically in his chair with barely so much as a fidget or quiet muttering as witness after witness detailed his declining mental capacity and atrophying brain. That changed Wednesday morning when, to the surprise of all in the courtroom, Girardi apparently said or mouthed to one of the federal prosecutors, "Fuck you."
Based.
To be fair, lots of my clients have done that too.
Yeah, they have. But this is like it's just funny. It's funny.
It is funny.
Though the comment could not be heard from the wooden pews where the public sits, the prosecutor brought it to the judge's attention. And neither Girardi nor his defense attorneys disputed it. Well, the outburst came as Assistant U.S. Attorney Ali Mogadas cross-examined Dr. Stacy Wood, a neuropsychologist who testified Tuesday as an expert witness for the defense. Mogadas suggested the outburst was evidence that Girardi was able to understand what was happening in the proceeding and that he knew that they had nothing to lose. Well, that's a problem.
I just suspect that it's even when your brain is pretty far gone, you can tell when somebody's being a dick to you.
I know, but the fact that this expert is on the stand when this is happening, and the expert's like, no, the fact that he just told you to fuck yourself, that means he knows what's going on and should stand trial.
Yeah, I feel like that's weak, and that actually would lead me to give the expert less credibility.
I get it, but it's the judge. This is a bench trial, Ian. Bench hearing.
Yeah, and if I was the judge, I would be like, this expert is apparently telling the prosecutor whatever they want to say, because there's no way that was part of their, part of their considerations beforehand.
Well, here's the thing. is that his own expert testified that he could not testify to a reasonable degree of medical certainty based on review of brain scans alone, whether the person was fit or not fit to stand trial. And what did he testify to on direct? That the only thing he reviewed was brain scans alone.
Which is not great. I mean, you want to have better evidence for this.
And Girardi's counsel has objected to every evaluation possible because everything about his cognitive decline is that it might be there, but it is not of the level that he cannot stand trial.
Yeah, I'm guessing what's going on is that he's, they don't want this dug into in a whole lot of detail, because if they have somebody sitting there, it'll be like, yeah, no, he's old, but not, yeah.
Well, and the prosecutor has basically said that if he's declared unfit to stand trial, they have to dismiss. So there go federal charges, because they don't want to pursue a full case just to have him detained until he is. They'll just dismiss it because he doesn't have anything. The bankruptcy's taken everything. He's already in a conservatorship and a guardianship.
I would still have him detained until he.
While cross-examining Wood, Mogadus brought up memos written by Girardi in 2020, as well as voicemails he left, which he said showed that Girardi was functioning at a normal level. One memo dictated by Girardi to his assistant told the staff they could no longer work from home. Mogadus said that indicates a level of awareness that contradicted the claim that Girardi was unaware of what was happening to him. But Wood disagreed, saying that someone with a mild cognitive impairment at an early stage of dementia could have dictated a memo like that. This is tough. The neuropsych said it suggests situational awareness, but added that her focus was more contemporaneous. Her focus was on Girardi's mental state now. That's the testimony by this person. I don't know. The condition is marked as short-term memory loss, which is unusual apparently in this particular diagnosis. So we'll have to see. But federal court, this is one of the things about federal court. You rely on third-party reporting. I just thought it was funny that he told the prosecutor to fuck himself.
I mean, lots of people have wanted to. I mean, you could make the argument that he is suffering some impairment because otherwise he'd know better than to do that.
Yeah, but some impairment. What was the girl that what was the trial that we just heard? What's her name? The boyfriend. The bad one. The one with just all the NSF words, like all of them. Who decapitated the boyfriend? What was her name? Shabusiness.
Yeah, Shabusiness.
She was fit to stand trial.
Mm-hmm. She was sane.
She was sane. I don't know. All right. I'm going to take a short break. Would you guys want me? I'm going to throw up the video.
That means more book time.
Well, no, I'm going to wait. We have to listen to music. Music. Brandon the Wandering Bard.
More book time.
Brandon the Wandering Bard. Brandon the Wandering Bard. All right. I just need a second.
You know what would go really well with this music?
No.
Light reading.
Kurt, I know where you live.
Once upon a time, there was a clerk of court. And she was the best clerk of court.
No, she was not. Why?
y'all are crapping on him as a fiddler. So you might not like that song. There's a lot of talent in that song. But
who's crapping on him as a fiddler?
A bunch of people in the chat.
It's really hard to record fiddle music or any strings.
This is also him fiddling. No, dude's self-taught. He's actually really damn good. So you can have your opinions. Good for you. I love the guy. He's a good friend of mine, and he's damn talented. So if you want to check it out, check it out. If you don't. Anyways, and you can have your opinions. You're not going to get blocked in the chat for having your opinions. I don't care. So we have Mr. Bankman-Fried to cover. And what else did I have? I think that was it. Oh my God. Look at that. I made through topics. Bankman-Fried. Let's do that. Mr. Bankman not so freed. Open the pages. Oh, there's a new one tonight. They're objecting to voir dire. Sorry. Okay, that's boring. That's objections to voir dire questions. Want to check this one real quick. They want high-speed wireless in the courtroom. No problem. They delayed. Oh my God! They got the judge to delay the start of trial. I know. Shocking. Guess how long the judge delayed the trial?
That I don't know. One day?
Yep. All right. Soupy soup. Double swoop. Kurt Smile swoop. Kurt Smile swoop. There we go. Mr. Bankman-Fried, our favorite criminal defendant. And by favorite, I mean the kid that just fucks around and finds out all the time, to the point where he was incarcerated because he just didn't like the judge's orders. Well, he filed an application to be released. To be released pending his. And while I want to do this because I did announce that they did receive the very, very, very rare delay of a trial in federal court. It is ordered delayed by 1 day from October 2nd to October 3rd at 9:30 a.m.
Wow.
So ordered.
1 day, man. Hold on for one more day. You can go your way. Hold on for one more day.
I practice in a jurisdiction where these delays, the rocket docket in EDVA. I mean, Kurt, you were here for a while.
Yeah.
The rocket docket is known throughout the country. Eastern District of Virginia is known to have the fastest federal trial docket in the country.
Yeah.
It's the rocket docket.
Yeah.
So.
And I appreciate that. I like that. Let's not dick around. Let's just get this thing going. Let's move.
Yeah. So when I saw the order that came out, it was like, it's ordered continued. I was like, no. By 1 day, I was like, oh, that's amazing. Because good for the judge. So why are we talking about this case in this context right now? Sharing the tab instead. On behalf of our client, Samuel Bankman-Fried, we respectfully submit this letter as a follow-up to our letter of September 5th in response to the court's order requesting the defendant to identify any factual inaccuracies in the government's September 5th letter concerning his access to discovery. So for those of you who need to catch up,
you know what, Mr. Bankman-Fried, you'd have a lot more access to discovery if you weren't in prison because you effed around.
Exactly.
Thank you, that sounds like a you problem. You had a nice palatial mansion You could meet with your attorneys there. I'm sure they have spare bedrooms. They could literally live with you, and you can meet 24/7 and have all the space you need. And you decide to F around, and now you're in prison and you're sad.
All you had to do was not do the shit you were doing. That's it. That's all you had to do.
Could you not tamper with witnesses? That'd be great.
Or could you not, like, just no private messages saying, can we get on the same page? No going through discovery material and saying, here, New York Times, would you like some inner diary communication from Carolyn Ellison?
Yeah, it's not exactly a good look.
It's not hard. It's really not hard.
I mean, if I was another inmate there, I would be so pissed at him.
Because he gets everything. He's at the MDC. Now, he is not in luxury confinement. He is at the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center. That is
also home to another famous inmate recently.
Oh, would that happen to be? Did Ms. Maxwell stay there?
Yes, and also her paramour.
The person who totally was well kept and looked after by the guards, right? That's the one we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, they looked after him.
Say the name. We're not talking about that, but it's a totally safe, safe detention center. 100% safe. So.
Yeah, nothing there happens by accident, folks.
Nothing.
I mean, I think before that it had been something. I'm trying to remember what the number was. I think it had been 23 years before there had been another inmate death or something like that. So I mean,
what are the odds?
Happens. What are the odds?
Oh no, I'm gonna do something that's really funny. Oh, sorry, chat. You're in the top right corner. It's a bald Bankman-Fried.
Wait, did they shave them there?
No, they don't. That was my thumbnail guy who thought it was really funny. And he sent me the image separately.
Because I know that there are
procedures to shave. Yeah.
Oh my God. I now know what I want for Christmas.
Ian.
Yes.
You kind of finished that because you're looking at a shaved headed Bankman-Fried. Oh, I get it.
No, I mean the actual this
like,
needs to happen.
The post conviction. Like you want this little image to not just be the limit, you want it to be like real.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. And in case that's too small for people who are looking at that, let me see if I can't find the better image, because I will say the artistic prowess of the gentleman that helps me with my thumbnails is remarkable. Ian knows him as well. We utilize him for our Trials of the Century.
And he does good work.
He does phenomenal work. I'm just gonna say Ian's Christmas present,
like, just
if he gets convicted, saying,
my Christmas present will be the filing of Sam Bankman-Fried as he objects to the haircut. Where he's like, I object to this haircut on the basis that I don't want it.
Just Jules, the secrets were in his hair. Now that the secrets are out, he doesn't need the hair.
This entire time he's been hiding in his hair a USB drive with a Bitcoin wallet.
This is another example of chat winning. A Chia Pet of SBF. I had just assumed SBF finally revealed that he is actually Lex Luthor after all. It's so shiny. It is. They do have hair length restrictions. They do. Nope, we're not going to put handlebars in front. Nope, not going to do that. Nope. Nope. But yeah, so back to the subject matter of the discussion, which I believe was this letter. We're asking that you please let our defendant out. First, the defense believes the description of Mr. Bankman-Fried's access to the internet-enabled laptop in the 500 Pearl Street cell block, I like the use of cell block rather than MDC, etc., is inaccurate. See ECF 253. The defendant continues to have access to the internet-enabled laptop at least 2 days per week at the 500 Pearl Street cell block. Under the current plan, Mr. Bankman-Fried is supposed to be given access to an internet-enabled computer and hard drive in the cell block twice a week for 4 to 5 hours. Mr. Bankman-Fried was produced to the cell block on Wednesday, which was the latest opportunity the defense had to observe whether the plan for access to the internet-enabled laptop would work as promised. As we fear, the current plan does not work in practice, and Mr. Bankman-Fried is not, in fact, getting access to an internet-enabled laptop. Here's the problem. Well, my problem with this particular argument. Yes, the defendant gets to participate in their defense. They get to participate in their defense. This level of participation that they're asking for is not reality. It's not. The attorneys are the ones that they're the ones that know the documents. Bankman-Fried doesn't know all of them. They've read every single page. They have billed him extensively for reading every single page. They know everything about all this information.
This would be like the first client I've ever had who actually paid this much attention.
Yeah,
it just doesn't happen.
This does not happen. So Mr. Bankman-Fried might want like more and more and more. I want all the access. I want to be in every meeting. It's not your entitlement. It's not. You get to participate. And back to what Kurt said before.
This is where I lose my patience. You had all the opportunity in the world to meet with your attorneys in your nice palatial house. You could have had a whole like war room.
Oh yeah.
Had maps on the wall and like pieces that you could move around with some miniatures, maybe. You could do the whole thing, whole 9 yards. And now you're in jail and you're like, I'm sad. And I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah. Welcome to the world of everyone else. And he had
whose fault is that, Sam?
Every single thing that's being cited in this fucking letter is 100% his fault. Everything.
I want access, despite the fact I'm in jail. I want access to an internet-connected laptop at all times. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no.
Okay, I'm pulling this up early because I saw it and it made me laugh. Elizabeth, someone played taps for all the Clippers that died shaving his head. That is an epic trolling remark. That deserves special accolades.
Oh, you just use a lawnmower. It'll take care of it.
Sure. Mr. Bankman-Fried was not produced to the cell block at 9 a.m. Instead, he did not arrive until 11. I wonder.
Oh my God. No. 2 hours delayed. Oh no.
Ian, how many times have you
that
waiting?
Sounds like something Isaac Court definitely needed to fix.
I know, and that's one of the questions. Ian, how many times have you waited for a client for longer than you anticipated?
Oh God, yes. Also, how many times have I ended up like locked? I was locked at a facility for I don't know, a couple of hours at least while there was a lockdown. They wouldn't let me out. It kind of sucked. I was outside the facility itself, but on the green space just before the outer wall. And they're like, yeah, we can't open the door for you. There's a riot. And I'm like, could you not let me out? And they're like, nope.
Yep. Your access at that point in time is a consequence of your actions. And James, I'm going to push back. What Kurt and Rob don't get is this part of his master plan. He's going to delay his trial one day at a time for the rest of his life. No, because the judge, the slapback of a 1 day extension, what you don't read is the shade in that. Like what I see is the shade in that.
Yeah,
there's a ton of shade. Like they were asking for a delay, and the judge was like, "Sure, no problem, 24 hours." That is so much judicial shade.
Yeah, I like it more than just a flat out denial.
I like
the shade
because then he appeals it and says the judge didn't give an extension, and the appeals court's like, "Oh yes, he did." He weighed the credibility of your arguments. He said, we'll give you 24 more hours. We can't say that he had no reason for doing that. It's great. So Mr. Bankman-Fried was therefore transported to the courthouse on a later bus. Wait, so it was a bus. It was logistics. Why? So that happens. That's one of the things that happens when you are detained.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, missing a bus is one of those things that happens when you're not detained. You know how many times I've waited for a client because they're like, hey, I'm on my way, but I missed my bus. It's like, okay, well, I guess I'm here for a while.
And this part is a bunch of bullshit. This limited 2 hours of review time. No, because if they would have held the order up to the detention center and said, it says 4 hours, they would have done it. If they would have called the judge and said, we only got 2 hours, the judge would have said 4 hours. That's a bullshit argument. When he arrived, he was placed in a holding cell without his internet laptop and could not do any work, despite our understanding he could use the laptop in a cell block even without his attorneys present. Are you getting the impression that this laptop is... what's he doing on the laptop where it's like not talk? When I'm talking with my client,
I don't even begin to understand under what circumstance he could have an internet connected laptop without, his attorneys could have one, but how he can have one on his own, that seems like so absurd.
Yeah, it boggles my mind. I've never seen that before.
And why in this part, he was by 1 p.m. Bankman-Fried was only able to, so it's not, the internet's not fast enough. It's only able to load one document from the database to review. Your laptop is there, counsel. Why are you having him download it to his where he's across the table rather than say, hey, Sam, come look at this? So the internet's not fast enough. He didn't get back to the MDC until approximately 7 p.m., meaning he spent an entire day getting access to a single document and the hours of communication you had while that document was downloading. But, sure, don't say that. That is one day he could not. Oh, now this is where the one day comes from. No. Tell me the judge is this smart. Because that is one day he could not spend working at the MDC or conferring with his lawyers.
Yep.
So here's your day back.
Here's your day back. Yeah, it's just
oh no, there's no, I can't. That's reading too much into it. Is it? I don't think so. I think that's great.
It is not. This judge is
so good.
This judge is long since past his patience point.
Done with the bullshit. Done with the bullshit.
I appreciate this judge's energy. I'm here for the judge's energy. It's like this case is moving forward. I am your new god. I am your new god. Bow before me. Here's what's happening. We're doing this now. I'm here for it.
And the thing is, he's going on the pleadings. He said, you said you lost a day. Here's a day. You lost a day. Here's a day.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Here's your day back.
If you lose another day, we could delay it by another day.
This is, oh my God.
I do appreciate it because we've definitely seen cases where judges do not have enough control of their courtroom. And we've seen how that can go and see how that can go bad. And this judge is like, yeah, I have control of my courtroom. This is your reality now. This is my world. You're just visiting it.
Well, and to remind you, this is the judge where he was looking at the prosecutor going, would you like me to revoke bail? Like early on saying, would you like harsher restrictions? Would you like me to revoke bail? Because what you're telling me is bad enough that I would. And the prosecutor's like, nah, we're going to let it slide. And the prosecutor said, we want bail revoked. And the judge said, sure, bail revoked, jail. Despite the government's efforts, there does not to be a way to solve the internet access problem in the cell block. That means that Mr. Bankman-Fried has no way to review and search documents in the Discovery database or the AWS website before trial. He does, but the defendant cannot prepare for trial with these kinds of limitations. You don't
The
get...
judge is like, you know what? I think you can, and I'm going to watch you try.
I know. And at this point in time, if I'm the judge, I'm getting more and more pissed off. And now I see why the shade.
You know why? You know, everyone else manages to prepare under these circumstances.
Exactly.
Like, you're not that special.
And it goes back to the defendant can't handle this. The defendant should have thought of that before the defendant engaged in behavior that resulted in the defendant's loss of his bond privileges.
Yeah.
Oh, that's in there. That's in there.
Second, the defense believes the government's statement that Mr. Bankman-Fried can review electronic discovery at the MDC from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on weekdays is inaccurate. The defendant can't review the full electronic discovery at the MDC because he doesn't have internet access there. All right.
Muffin.
I'm done. This is ridiculous. This is nitpicking. This is bullshit. This is not what a proper defense is. This is...
And you know what?
Every defendant, every single defendant faces harsher conditions than these all the time. And we complain about those.
I'm on his side. You know what? I bet there was no mint on his pillow. I bet he didn't get enough caviar with his dinner. I think that there was, that really he is hard done by, and that this has got to be a remedy, because how is he supposed to live under these conditions?
He's not.
Anyways, the judge.
But on the plus side, he no longer has to make any decisions, because someone will tell him when to wake up, and someone will tell him when it's time for breakfast, and someone will tell him when it's time for lunch, and tell him where he needs to go. He'll have a scheduler. It's great. He's going to have a scheduler, he's going to schedule, tells him everywhere he needs to be, 24/7 living accommodations in a nice, secure facility, personal staff, always attentive.
And you know what? He's got a very convenient room.
Yeah, it's got a room.
He's got
very
a poop,
secure, very secure room.
Well, and if he's got a poop, it's just right there. Like,
yeah,
same place.
Some days of the week he gets to take a shower.
It gets worse.
How does it get worse?
Because they filed a follow-up letter.
Did you not read between the lines, or do you not care?
Like, Ian, so this is September 8th, but it says memo endorsed, and they add to it. Like, this gets longer. Like, this entire thing here. All of that is new. All of this is new.
I mean, it's not really that new. It's just, yeah.
Does he know the end is nigh, or do you think he knows the end is nigh?
He has to. So this is where the new stuff starts leaking in. Son of a bitch! I didn't realize that this part was. I read the footnote.
He seeks to be released from. I didn't know that. He seeks to be released from pretrial detention. Wow.
No, it gets better.
Yeah.
So he seeks to be released, implicitly arguing the court should find that such release is necessary for preparation of defendant's defense. The defendant, however, has not been provided sufficient basis for such a finding, despite his relatively unsupported claims that he does not have unimpeded access to electronically stored discovery material while detained at a variety of other arguments. Wait, so is this the state's opposition? No, this is Cohen. Okay. First, defendant large. Wait. This is Cohen's letter, correct?
Are you sure it's not the judge responding?
Via ECF, Mark Cohen, Christian Everdell, those are his attorneys. Dear
Right,
Judge
but
Kaplan,
is it-
on behalf of our client, Sam Bankman-Fried,
So it
we
starts
respectfully
with
submit this letter.
it starts with the first page of the last letter.
No, this is a recitation. So let me recap. So here's this is the letter, right? First offense believes the description of Bankman-Fried's access to the internet and laptop, blah, blah, blah. First offense believes the description of the laptop is inaccurate. So this one it says memo endorsed. This one, this other one is this blank one, but they're both September 8th. So this one is I guess the other one that was filed was not authorized to be filed. This one is the actual one.
No. Now it begins memorandum endorsement. Because what the judge did is he took their letter, took the first page, stamped memo endorsement on it, and basically says, this is what I'm responding to. Here's the front page, and then puts his response after it.
No.
Yes.
He didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this gave me some issues when I was looking over it, but
wait a second. That takes the shade to a whole new level.
Yep.
I'm looking this up to just verify it. Where is it? So I want to see who filed it. What's the doc number? Doc is why aren't you showing me? Show me the 278. 278. It was. Oh,
Told you. Got to trust me on these things.
Ian, you have to appreciate that I had to trust but verify. Wow. I don't think I've seen this before.
Yeah, no, it's just like we're not even gonna he's just like, nah, screw you.
So the judge is interlineating his responses.
Well, that's pretty good.
All right.
The only way it could get any better is if the judge was just scrolling his answer on the front page inside the margins or something, in handwriting his answer. Maybe some like highlights and some circles and stuff, and be like, no, absolutely not.
Because I read this paragraph, like part of it, and I was going, this is a lot of shade. Why is this? Oh my God, this is fantastic. The defendant here seeks to be released from pretrial detention pursuant to blah, 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 arguing that the such release is necessary for preparation. The defendant, however, has not provided a sufficient basis for such finding, despite his relatively unsupported claims that he does not have unimpeded access to electronically stored discovery and other material while detained, and a variety of other arguments. So basically, you say a lot of things, but they're not supported. Paragraph 2. First, defendant largely ignores the fact that he had extensive access to most of the ESI for 7.5 months before his bail was revoked shortly before trial. He was indicted on December 9th. The indictment was unsealed on December 13th, and the defendant was presented in this court on December 22nd following his extradition from the Bahamas. He immediately was released on bail and permitted to reside at his parents' home in Palo Alto, California, where he had extensive access to telephone and the internet until his bail was revoked on August 11, 2023. Thus, whatever impediments the defendant may have experienced in preparing for trial since August 11th, he faced no such impediments during the roughly 7.5 months between his presentment to this court and the revocation of his bail. Fuck, I love this judge. Apart from the fact that the government, in order to comply with its obligation to produce Rule 16 discovery requested by the defendant, promptly after receiving it from the third parties, has continued to produce documents in recent weeks. The defendant has had months in which to explore the discovery and make whatever other investigations he wishes by electronic means. There has been
this is a problem of your own creation. You had 7.5 months free and you decided to fuck it up, and now you want this to be my problem.
Yep. There has been no persuasive showing that this did not permit him to prepare for trial, except to the extent that some of the materials now available had not been produced by the government until recently. Moreover, the recently produced documents are text searchable, indexed productions, the majority of which came from the defendant's own Google accounts and therefore were accessible to the defendant long before the government received those very same materials in a late production from Google. This is a judge that knew his shit. Wow. Yep. Okay. Oh, my admiration just grows. Second, whatever time pressure defendant now claims to face, given the imminence of the trial date and the claimed limitations on his access to electronically stored information while incarcerated, largely would be of his own making.
Bring it.
When this case first came before the other side last January, both the government and the defendant sought a trial in September or October of 2023. The court gave them what they asked for, an October 2nd trial date, subsequently adjusted to October 3rd. And when the defendant began complaining that his recent incarceration made trial preparation by that date more difficult for him, the court offered to consider any request by the defendant for substantial adjournment of the trial to give him more time in which to prepare. Yet defendant conspicuously failed to request any additional time. Third, the premise of the defendant's position here is that he personally is entitled to this part. Yes. Come judge, bring it to me. Third, the premise of defendant's position here is that he is entitled to review and consider every single piece of discovery in this case to generate unspecified work product in respect thereof, and so on. But the premise is incorrect. Defendant is represented by a substantial team of extremely able retained lawyers. He proposes to call at trial seven expert witnesses. This judge is savage, and no representative.
This isn't savage. This is just accurate and reasonable.
Real.
This is just like, sorry, dude. I am out of patience for your bullshit. You do not get to play pretty princess anymore.
Yes.
We are here having a trial, sir.
Yep.
And I mean, if you want to read every document, if that's your argument that you have to be allowed to do that, how about you self-rep?
Yep. And no
if you're not self-repping.
There you go. Yeah. And here's the caveat. No represented defendant, that part, what Ian said. If you self-rep, you get access to everything all the time. And no represented defendant, much less a defendant detained pretrial in order to protect the public, has a constitutional or other right to inspect every bit of discovery. Citing some cases. Okay. Finally, as the court suggested in remarks on August 30th, and as it remains true today, the defendant has not made any detailed showing as to specific materials that he claims he has been unable to access personally, and the reasons why any such personal inability actually would impede his defense. Generalities about millions of pages without connecting those dots simply is not persuasive. Defendant's team of lawyers is able to provide defendant with any materials that he would like to review on hard drives at the MDC. There's been no suggestion that counsel is incapable of running any searches across the relativity or AWS databases the defendant may desire and then providing him with the results. For all these reasons, defendant's repeated
Yep.
Defendant's repeated Section 3142 requests to be released for trial preparation purposes are denied. This really does not foreclose.
I just like this because there are too many cases where everyone's dicking around, and you know it goes on forever, and there's endless motions and precipice and whatever, and everything stalls. And there are too many cases like this, and this judge is just like, nope. This train is going. This train is choo-choo, MFers. we're moving along. We are not dilly-dallying. This thing is happening. So all aboard.
This last paragraph is a judicial fucking backslap. I'm going to read the whole paragraph. For all of these reasons, defendants repeated Section 3142I requests to be released for trial preparation purposes are denied. This ruling does not foreclose a further application on a more factually grounded and persuasive showing. Dude, this judge is awesome.
Lewis Kaplan. Judge Lewis is good judge.
I tell you what, he's like, I ain't gonna hear the bullshit. You go, and it wasn't. He's like, I'm not even gonna waste time.
I'm hearing the bullshit, but I'm not entertaining it.
He's gonna say, I'm not even wasting time drawing up an order.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, I'm gonna take your letter, the first page of it, and I'm gonna say,
I mean, it's just a memo endorsement. Like, just yep.
God.
This is basically just him saying nope.
Yeah, but in the most like just smackdown way, and justifiably so.
Yeah. If anything, I'd like it to be even snarkier, but he's a more restrained snark, and that's fine.
Well, Kurt, I mean, he kind of did come out and say you had 7.5 months in a palace. And it was only by your own actions that you're in jail.
Which is accurate.
So I usually afford more deference to defendants when I review these, but I have seen a lot of SBF's antics, and it's a whole lot of bullshit. And he played a whole lot of that F around game, and he got the find out part way longer than most people do. Yeah. So, anyways, for those of you guys still watching, we are 3 hours in. We're going to catch up on Super Chats, and then we are done for the evening. Not a 6.5 hour live stream like last Friday, but yeah.
I don't know who on the stream is going to be attending Nick Rakita's event tomorrow, but just in case those of you who, I'll just make a brief announcement on that. There's an event tomorrow in Nashville for Nick Rakita. I believe it's 6 or 6:30 in Nashville. And he has tickets on Eventbrite, and I will be there. So if any of you guys are going to Nashville, then I will see you in person tomorrow. Exciting.
Well, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Nashville is a great city, by the way, Kurt. Have you been there before?
Yes.
Oh, I love that city. It's fantastic. But I hope you have a good time. You'll have a great time. All right, let's catch up. Ange Torres is wondering what Nicole is putting on her pancakes. Oh, this is catching up from the beginning. Nicole, dripping with maple syrup classic. Oh, now I'm seeing where the chats were. Ange Torres, Nicole. Yes. Y'all, come on. Mindy HB, thanks for the member chat. Ready for Robin Runkle and Kurt tonight. I'm glad Kurt got back on here. You were covering Ken Paxton so much, I was worried that you wouldn't have the energy because you've been doing that the whole trial.
I appreciate that you sent me the invite. I like being on your show.
I'm glad that you're here. I didn't want to push it too hard because I know that you were covering. You've been doing streams morning and night. Like
it's been a very interesting experience on a lot of levels because I'm Republican and my chat leans very heavily right wing as well, and like I'm having to try to adjudicate this from a legal perspective, and I'm like, guys, there's a lot of evidence here against Ken Paxton. And then I get accused of being a rhino, and it makes me sad.
Like I said, my goal in life is so the chat never really knows what way I lean one way or the other, except for one caveat. If you call yourself a politician, that's when I'm going to have an opinion. And there are a lot of them. And, well, never mind. individual liberties are pretty important, and I think constitutional protections should not be just cast asunder all the time, just because we want to. Quickie Mon Steve. Well, my 7.5 minutes was obviously wrong. Let's go for 13.75. That was pretty close. What was it? 14 minutes late? Likely still optimistic, but what the heck? Happy Friday. Happens. Elizabeth Chetwood, thank you. Wait, the bald guy is SBF. How many Clippers died making that happen?
Just use fire.
It is. For every 5 minutes late, Rob has to take a shot of a hot sauce of Ian's choice. Nope. Ian and I had that debate. Like, I don't think Ian would subject me to something as bad as what was it? The
bomb?
The bomb? No, that's battery acid. That's
I mean, there's hotter sauces that are better sauces. So the hotter sauces are things like this one. The Last Dab is hotter than the bomb.
Oh yeah, but
tastier.
It doesn't taste as bad.
No, it tastes way better than the bomb.
Yeah, tastes good.
Case in point.
Of course you could do it. Is that a teaspoon? It's a lot.
It is.
You have mental problems sometimes. Nope, you have problems. But I will remind the people while you're observing Ian react to that hot sauce that if you do want to see Ian, myself, Kurt, and David from Prototopics on a live stream that was really damn funny. It was the hot sauce challenge on Ian's birthday, where David and Kurt smiling because David and Kurt went back and forth doing the hot sauce challenge where we would eat a wing and a question would be asked of us. And Kurt thought it was a genius idea and didn't tell me his idea before he started, where when I got started getting the hotter hot sauces, he started asking me bar questions, like law school questions. And oh my God, the reactions and the profanities are that was legendary. Because Kurt was like, in the last one,
rule against perpetuities, baby. It can only be one thing.
Oh man, that was one of the best streams ever. But that was fantastic. Yeah, that was one of my favorite times on the internet, to be honest. Niklas, an academic quarter hour means you can't be late. It's only 15 minutes late. Thank you, Niklas. Josh, thank you for the super sticker. Kristen, thank you very much. Unethically drinking water in South Carolina and eating breakfast for dinner, including pancakes. Also, National Robot Day is 9/26, and the jury wants cupcakes. 9/26, my jury of robots. We will celebrate. We'll celebrate. I'll have to do something that day for the robots, for all the robots. Midnight dreary, difficult surgery recovery, so only water for me. That's fine. That's fair. I hope the surgery was successful and that recovery is more rapid than you think it might be. Tony P, this panel is as satisfying as a stack of pancakes. Pancakes is the inside joke in the chat right now. I don't understand it. Celine, ethically drinking water in Washington, and all the pancake talking is making me want them for dinner. Ian, do you want to fill me in?
People have been arguing over what is the best breakfast. And they've been saying, so there's the waffle people, the French toast people, and the pancake people. And they're all wrong. Because the best breakfast syrup, vector is the Bismarck.
The hell is the Bismarck?
If you haven't had one, you have lived a life that has not achieved the full heights of its greatness.
Ian, it is 12 o'clock in the morning. Description. What is the Bismarck?
So it's a little sort of thing you bake in the oven, and it puffs up, and it's delicious. So it's kind of a thicker baked dessert, I guess.
It's a biscuit.
No, it's sweet.
You ever had a Bowberry biscuit?
No.
Oh, you're missing out.
I'll find you a recipe. I'll send it to you. You'll have to try making it, and it's really good.
Yep. Cloaked Librarian busts out the ukulele and sing closing time. We're not there yet. Nicole, thank you. Can confirm Celine is ethically thirsty in Washington. Kristen's thirst is unethical because she's in South Carolina. Wow. Okay, Nicole.
That's going to generate some shade.
All right. Amber, food is important, especially pancakes for dinner. My God, you guys. Rachel Dweck, my vote for waffles. My mom's waffle. Wow. Okay. Ange, Nicole, well hydrated in California, so no thirst here. Now I'm seeing where the super chats got. Okay, now I get it. Peggy Reardon, Newman gave interviews saying case was proven. Is there a conflict? No, he has the right to say that. The jury, not when he says the case was proven, because the jury came back with a verdict. He's allowed
But there's
to
a conflict,
say,
period.
I think if he is a witness, he cannot preside over things that he observed. If Becky Hill is being asked questions about what she said to Judge Newman, the only person who can refute that is Judge Newman. Judge Newman cannot preside over something he would have to testify to. That is a conflict of interest. You cannot do that. You are conflicted. You have to remove yourself from the position of judge and put yourself in a position of witness. And a third party has to come in and preside. Two cellos managed to record a string perfectly. Thank you, Nine Inch Nails gal. Pretty honest throwaway. Ian, have you heard of the fence lady drama on TikTok? Please cover if you can. You get kicked out of it, and I'd get a kick out of your commentary on it. Fence lady drama.
Somebody send me a link to that, because I'll have to check it out.
Yep, please do. One moment here. My mouse disappeared. The mouse cursor disappeared. There you are. Okay, Scat Queen. Ian, did you get my DM, Artie Crypto King?
I'm going to check for that right now.
Okay. Lynn, thank you for being a member. SBF is my favorite comedian. He's something else. Baby Gator, SBF is giving grounded teenager vibes. And the judge kind of told him he was. Adrian Angevine, if SBF's attorneys had so much time to meet with him, do you think since he's now unavailable to meet, the judge should assign them to Sarah Boone instead, or Sarah Boone's case? That's mean. That's cruel and unusual. That's hard. A lot of people had a lot of opinions about the Sarah Boone thing when we covered that last week.
I was a little surprised that the prosecution took no position on the motion to recuse. I would think they're getting a little bit tired of it at this point.
In which case, the motion withdrawal for the attorney?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, withdrawal. Yeah.
I
was surprised the prosecution took no position on it.
Well, Kurt, you were in the chat for that.
Not
I
do want
to ask you.
It's not like they're likely to hold the lawyer in the trial. I think the judge is already on his own, getting to the point where he's like, you're running out of lawyer opportunities here.
It's going to be pro se at the end of the day. But the thing is, I was interested about your opinion because the chat fought me on this one. And people are saying that no lawyer should be subjected to that abuse. And I was pretty emphatic that that's the job. Like, that's the job. Like, you don't come out
if
and
you're doing criminal defense.
You don't come out and say that no person can defend this person. Like, you don't say that. Not as defense counsel. You don't say that publicly, ever.
Yeah. Especially because like what the attorney gets to do, like as a matter of ethics, is actually a lot wider than they might think, because like I've read enough case law in the criminal law context that, you know, the defendant gets the choice about the plea, about guilty or not guilty.
Oh yeah.
But they don't get the choice about how to go about that objective.
Experts.
So the one of the classic delineation between the lawyer and the client is the client sets the goal, the lawyer sets the mean to the goal. And so the client says what the objective is, the lawyer says how to get there. So like, for example, she can't force the lawyer to offer any particular defense. She can't force the lawyer to call any particular witness, ask any particular question or anything. So like the lawyer can ethically kind of just ignore her and be like, well, you know,
that's what the lawyer was doing.
And be like, you know, I'm just not going to do any of this because I have my own strategy about how to advance your client. And as long as the lawyer can justify those choices by saying, I did my due diligence and in following up various paths, and I made strategic calls in the advance of my client, that's going to be fine. So,
and
that's
what's
sort
funny
of,
is when your client files letters like that publicly saying that, like, I want my battered spouse defense, as a lawyer, you are actually entitled to you ignore it, but you're actually entitled to file a letter under seal to your client and to the judge to refute things your client has said to the court only, not to the prosecution. That's a U.S. thing, Ian. That's a U.S. thing.
I was going to say different in my jurisdiction because
it's a U.S. thing. That's a U.S. thing.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do that. So because the judge is there to weigh whether you can continue to represent this person, and you don't have to listen to everything they say, and you can have chosen their defense, their most likely defense, and they might oppose you. The famous case on this one is Charles Manson. Charles Manson and the Manson acolytes wanted to plead guilty. Like, the acolytes wanted to plead guilty and jump on the sword, and the defense attorneys were like, "No, you're not." To the point where
you can plead guilty. I can't stop you from doing that.
They could, but they wanted to testify, and the defense attorney was like, they wanted to testify not in their own cases, in his case.
Do that. That's what you can't force me to do. You can plead guilty if you want. But whether you're a witness in my case is my call.
And the defense attorneys interjected and they said, no, they're not doing that.
Yeah.
And the defense attorneys caught a lot of heat for that. But I think it was a tough ethical question. But I think the defense attorneys were right, because you have to protect your client against even themselves sometimes, except for in the exercise of certain fundamental rights.
Yeah.
And the thing is
they get
your
to choose
client...
whether or not to take the stand. They get to choose whether or not to plead. They get to choose whether or not to appeal. And there's a couple like waive jury trials, if that's a thing, depending on your jurisdiction. But those are
waive time,
fundamental calls. Yeah, waive speedy trial. But those are the limited calls that the defendant gets to make. So, yeah, everything else is up to the lawyer. I won't call that witness. You can't make me. I won't ask that question. You can't make me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's tough for people to grasp, but it is true. Okay, Cat Queen. Sounds like the defense needs to print all the documents so SBF can review them in his cell. He doesn't need to prepare. The attorneys do, for fuck's sake. That when I read that, that's my opinion. If I have a client that's saying I can't access all the documents, I'm saying, shut up. You don't need to. I do.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me. I wanted to echo on Rob's earlier point when he said about the sealed letter. It's in the rules for privilege, because you can break privilege in order to defend. You can defend an accusation against the lawyer. I think it's 1.6e. I'd have to double check on the exact citation. But yeah, you can break privilege to defend against an accusation made against the lawyer. So that's why you can do it. You can reveal the confidence, but of course you don't want to give it to the other side. You don't want to give it to the prosecutor, so you can give it to the judge to be like, yeah, well, this is what my client told me. This is what I told them, because they're the one that is making me look like bad. So break privilege to defend myself. So, yep, that's fine.
Yep. All right. Ange Torres, this is for Celine and her epic snark. Appreciate that, Baby Gator. Print the docs and put them bankers' boxes. Then SBF can build his own box for it. That would be curious to see. I don't think it would hide the hair. Nick Loss, this is his lawyers running up the tab, billable hours. No, they're trying to do everything they can to get his ass out of jail. They're just not going to win. So they're trying to appease him. Chris Cat Queen, I wonder if the judge was in the Army. I used to do the paragraph answer format to really asinine emails. I don't know, but I appreciated that level of snark. Torin, I'm calling it a night. I was up kind of late last night. I saw Torin. That's awesome. Thank you for very kind words. You need to get your braid to you now. And you, sir, deserve a pen, pencil, whatever the hell you want, man. I'll send it your way. General Tuggernaut, I haven't seen you in a while, my friend. Can you say 5 months still waiting? Oh, God, that's right. I owe you a response, buddy. I do. It's been a crazy past few months. I've transitioned to a new firm. that has been remarkably taxing. I was off the internet entirely for like a month and a half. I'm working on it. I will pull that up. I
I'm
apologize
glad
for
to
the
know it's
delay.
not just me. That's nice.
It's not, Kurt. It's not just everybody. I looked at my phone the other day. I had 16 text messages from like personal friends that I had not looked at in a week. I posted something on Twitter the other day, like when I went in the shop.
Loved us, Rob.
No, I posted something on Twitter the other day when I went in the shop because I had gotten home and I was so tired and I wanted to go to sleep. And I just said, I need to do something. So I went in the shop, and even though I didn't want to be there because I was tired and stressed, and I thought like every minute I was down there, I thought this is minutes I could be doing something else that I need to do. The more I was down there, the more it felt a little bit better. And it brought me kind of back to caliber like yesterday, where I was finally able to start taking things off my list and answering phone calls and answering text messages and texting my friend who I haven't texted in a while and said, hey, would you like to join tonight? It was that decompression moment and stuff I've not been doing that I need to remind myself to do. So
You were so radio silent there for a while. I was wondering if I'd somehow genuinely offended you.
nope. I was radio silent to a lot of people. Ask Ian. I hadn't talked to, I was off the map.
No, and people were like, hey, what's going on with Rob? And I'm like, I don't know, other than I think he's fine. He's just buried in life stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and people are like, oh, well, you know, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know.
It's taking 10 years of law practice and learning how to practice law again under a new firm, taking your existing clients, moving those over, dealing with family stuff at the same time. Is a lot. So I apologize to people that I have not responded to, General Tuggenot included. I will pull those up tomorrow. I have a full day tomorrow where I can dedicate time to that. So I will. Joshua, thank you again for the great FNF and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Joshua. Holly, Kurt, what brand of headphones are you wearing?
Sennheiser, baby. Sennheiser is the best earphones in the market.
All right. Crazy Cat Queen, a Bismarck is similar to a German/Dutch pancake. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
I understand now.
They're basically like a thick oven cooked pancake.
Yep.
They're quite sweet. They're very good. If you come visit, I will make Bismarcks.
We can do that.
But then it'll ruin you for pancakes and French toast and all of that other BS.
I don't think you could ever do that for me. I love that stuff. The hills were alive. There you go. All right.
My best poutine recipe.
Yeah.
I am not good at making it because really you want to go somewhere that because the ideal should be sort of thick beef gravy and you want good cheese curds, like cheese curds that are fresh. They should be squeaky. So I mean the best poutine is really simple.
Squeaky.
Yeah, like they should squeak on your teeth.
What?
Good.
Kurt, I'm as troubled by that as.
Have you if you get cheese curds that are made like same day? Yeah.
What? Why is anything squeaking on your teeth? Why?
Because they have a different they have a different consistency when they're made fresh.
Okay.
So
I'm now concerned.
Like they're waxy?
I don't think it's waxy exactly. They're just
sweet. Like
the most important thing is that they taste better. So
okay, that's fair. Celine, the unethical jokes are because last week you said people in South Carolina are unethical. We've been making unethical jokes all week. Oh, just because it wasn't that everyone in South Carolina. Why does everyone in South Carolina represent each other? Why is it always the same attorneys? Why? Every fucking case, it's the same attorneys. Are there not more than 10 attorneys in South Carolina? Why? Where are the conflicts checks? How? I don't get it.
Conflict checks. Everyone's relative anyway, man. Rob,
we don't need no conflicts check. Yeah. Kristen M96, Robert, take care of yourself or else we love you and care for you. We need our Rob, Ian, and Kurt. Thank you, Kristen. That's very kind of you to say. Petty honest throwaway, does this move to a new firm mean you don't go before Judge A anymore? No. I think you said you were in a new district. No, I'm still where I am. It just means that I have more support, so I can be in trial more, which means I will likely be in front of these judges more often, not less often.
More
Does this
judges.
mean that you can assign your underlings to do work for your channel?
Not for my channel, but the marketing like guru for the firm was like, the firm wants to start putting out like some video content. Are you possibly comfortable being in front of a camera? And I was like, funny story. So yes, but also you might want to look at it. Like, I don't know if you want me in front of a camera. What do you mean? Like,
you're like, I've got some baggage.
Well, and he was like, we want to put together these short little clips explaining little elements of law with an article. And I said, so you mean you want to put together an Instagram reel or a YouTube short, and you want to link to an article or a description that people can click through to visit the website? And he said, I've never heard a lawyer say that. Huh? I know. You might want to double check before you start asking me to do these videos. So just say,
is Rob going to be a TikTok star for his firm? Is that where this is going?
No, but
you could do some TikTok dances right outside the law firm. Show us your TikTok dance.
You don't need anything special. You just need your phone. Oh, we can do this. We're fine. We have no problem.
You're like, I may have equipment already.
Rob's got equipment. It's fine. Rob's got good equipment.
Kurt.
What?
No. All right. I'm going to highlight some gifted memberships. Josh, thank you for 20 gifted memberships. That's very kind of you. Pants, 5 gifted memberships. Amber, 10 gifted memberships. Ali Foley, 5 gifted memberships. Terry K, 5 gifted memberships. Ryan Man YYC, 5 gifted memberships. Joshua, another 5. Amber Brock, 20 memberships. Rachel Dueck, 10 memberships. Canonical Heat, 20 memberships. I mean, you guys are Izzy E, 10 memberships. DSN, 1 membership. Amber Brock, 10 more memberships. Joshua, 5 more. Manders, 10 more memberships. You guys are all incredible. And I owe you a members only stream. We've done some cool shop streams of late, and we've been making some pens and having some fun. So we're going to keep doing that because it's a great way to decompress and kind of chat with you guys behind the scenes where, not the whole public is watching. So I do appreciate that opportunity. It's great. Amanda Wagstaff, fresh cheese curds are phenomenal. Okay, I'll take your word. Krista M96, autocorrected Robert. I knew I was scolding. All right. That brings us to the conclusion of this evening's Friday Night Frenzy. Look at that. 3 hours, 37 minutes. That's not too bad. And just as I speak, Debbie W., if you have Dairy Queen near you, they are decent with their cheese curds. Okay, Debbie, I'll take your word for it. Kristen, hey there, my friend. I see you on the Instagrams. Great Instagram channel. If you can't follow, go Kristen Sawdust. Mom that does all the woodworking stuff. Pretty badass.
Oh, cool.
Give her a follow.
I like this comment in chat. Mr. Morden, why does this ham banana person keep posting sparkle farts ride?
Oh, no.
He's gonna die.
Take a deep breath.
Oh, jeez.
Because Kurt can imagine that happening. That's the problem. No.
Oh man.
Oh, that was so healthy.
Oh man, that was funny.
That was good. All right, that is what we need. That is what we need, folks. That's what you need. That's fantastic. Generous. I didn't know what day it was until I saw FNF was on. Me too. I asked someone honestly what day is today, and since Friday, it's like, oh shit. Adrian, Runkle, are you squeaking cheese? You're not supposed to eat the mouse with the cheese, right? All right. Okay. I can't see any better way to end this. Thank you guys, everyone, for being here. Happy Friday to all of you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Get out there, make something, do something, have some fun with family, enjoy a beverage or two, enjoy some food while you're at it. And to my guests, my dear friends, Ian and Uncivil, please go check out their channels. They are very good friends, and they do just, I have a great time with them talking about this stuff. I couldn't do without them. So thank you all. And I bid you all a good evening, and I will catch you next week.